created everything. Look what a powerful being you are. You did these things, but now you're in a human body, you forget the power you have.
Welcome back to Metamystics, where you don't know what you don't know. My name's Jonathan, joined today by my good brother Cody. What it do, brother?
What's going on? It's Cody here. Welcome back to Metamystics. Today we're sitting down with Devon to explore the wild world of synchronicities and the meaningful coincidences that shape our lives.
Fuck yeah, dude. How many people nowadays are noticing way more synchronicities than we have ever, truly have before? And then whenever you start applying those synchronicities to your research and your study and your beliefs and your religion and the philosophy you live by and all this other stuff, you happen to stumble across this word called syncretism. It's been brought up a few times in the past. We actually had on one of the syncretism goats about 6 months ago, Santos Bonacci. Whatever I asked him, I was like, dude, what do you think with all of these different religions? And like, what do you think is going on with all of that? And he was like, dude, it's all syncretism. That's all, like everything is syncretism. It doesn't matter if it's the Greeks, if it's the Egyptians, if it's the Buddhists, the Hindus, the Taoists, like all of them. It's all kind of a collective information that was essentially, I don't want to say handed down, but influenced all of the religions in one way or another. And so today, Devon, that's why we bring you here, because you actually wrote a book on it. And I got to be real with you. I got about halfway through that bad boy, and I was like, my God, my brain is turning to mashed potatoes, because after every sentence, I was like, oh my God, that's good. And then I couldn't stop, and it makes too much sense for it not to be real, right? And this is just pattern recognition. Right? Like that's what that's all we're doing, is recognizing patterns all throughout history and religion and mythology and philosophy, and trying to see exactly how maybe some more ancient information has been transferred over to newer information. And I don't think that is necessarily like, painting it all with a broad brush. Of course, you're going to have your flavors of different cultures and whatnot, but it is interesting how you have so many stories that relate to so many other stories from completely different parts of the world, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. No, and for real, it's insane how they don't want to acknowledge that it's pattern recognition. It's like we're seeing something that has been able to be mapped out finally. We're in the age of information where technology has us at a point where we can, if you know how to ask the right questions of this technology, it will give you the path there, right? And so, I mean, I think that the most beautiful part of where we're at in terms of the syncretism, right? And it's the age of Aquarius, right? It's everything's unveiling. It's the apocalypse, right? Which is the unveiling kind of thing. It's not like the end of the world. It's the end of the illusions. It's like we start to recognize that all of this is one beautiful mosaic. It's like a tapestry of the human collective that has created this insane organizational pattern that has allowed us to survive as a species. Isn't that like the most insane part about it, is we figured out how to map out a way to survive as a species by passing through these like religious belief systems that all at the core promote the same thing, which is a togetherness, right? Like it's this like goodwill towards men, this like, that when you get to the core of all of these things, what it's trying to teach us is to do good things to other people and have good things come back to you for it.
You know what? I'll tell you one thing, and this kind of just reminds me of something maybe to a more grander scale. And that is, have you ever seen it, just by talking about like, of course it's all going to come together. Of course it's all going to mush together. It all connects in one way or another. And it's almost impossible to find the origin of anything. To say that any one thing was the grandfather of any idea, it's damn near impossible, because we don't know how far back even human history goes, let alone how far back, ancient religions go. And some of the people within those ancient religions call them prophets or saviors or saints or sages or what have you. It's like all of this information has essentially, been handed down in one way or another. And it kind of reminds me that whenever all the information comes together, you were talking about like, well, could we be in the age of Aquarius? It's the age of information. We have access to more information now than at any point in in documented human history. I can't speak for the Atlanteans. I mean, of course, then you had the Library of Alexandria, but you had to read all those books. I'm good. There ain't enough time. But it's the coming together of all of it. And it kind of reminds me that why wouldn't it all eventually come together and work together? And eventually maybe it'll, come together in unison and everybody can kind of get behind it, because just like this picture right here, where you have, the neurons firing in a brain, right? And it's extremely similar to what the universe looks like as a whole. Like, it's all the same thing. We're all trying to say the same thing in different words, in different dogmas, in different beliefs, in different cultures. And we get upset whenever somebody says, well, those people actually talked about it before, this dogmatic kind of stuff came about. And look, we're not trying to be poisonous whenever we say stuff like this. It's more of just, as we were talking about, it's more of like a pattern recognition to be like, look, we're not going to come down on you and say that you were wrong for judging everybody else and saying that everybody's going to go to hell. But look at this smorgasbord of information and tell me, and it's not just Christians, it's Islam, it's Judaism, it's Buddhism, it's Taoism, it's Hinduism, it's Norse mythology, it's Greek, all the Greek and the Olympic kind of stuff. It's like, it's all describing essentially the same thing, right? Like and that's why whenever you get so attached to the exoteric meaning of shit, that's whenever people really go crazy. I think we can all agree on the esoteric understanding. Why can't we go back to that? It's the deeper meaning. Forget who did what, where, and who was speaking to the correct God at what time in human history. Like, why are we so hung up on material reality? We're talking about spirituality, right? Like, it's all, this is meant to be spiritual, understood at a deeper level. So why are we getting hung up on the material aspect of it?
When you talk about the getting back to the sharing the esoteric more than the exoteric, right? And because that is how it used to be. You didn't go into another land or another country and try to wage war on them. You heard one say Hermes and describe his fucking like attributes and then be like, oh, Mercury. And now you guys have a shared understanding because of the attributes both gods shared. So if they say Hermes or you say Mercury, they both know what you're talking about. It's swiftness. It's the fucking, it's like all of the attributes. I can't name them all off right now. Too many thoughts going.
Well, just, I mean, the messenger. It's, it's Hermes, it's Mercury, it's Thoth. And actually, even within the New Testament of the Bible, the Apostle Paul, I say that with quotations because there's a lot of bullshit about him, but even within the Bible, they call him essentially a modern day Mercury. It's all about a message bringer. It's the messenger. And
it's funny that they call him that because that's kind of what Paul was famous for, is stealing things that were attributed to Zeus and then like giving them over to Yahweh in order to like try and establish the religion within the Greek fucking place. He literally found like a temple or a shrine that was like forgotten. It didn't have a name on it. And he was like, this forgotten whatever. And then started like using attributes of Zeus to describe Yahweh so that the Greeks would be like, oh yeah, Yahweh, that sounds pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because Zeus, I mean, I know that he was like god of thunder or whatever, but also like a warring kind of god too, right?
Yeah.
And that you look into the etymology of Yahweh before it's ever presented, in a Judeo kind of Christian way. Yahweh was a warring god. Like that's
Babylonian store god.
That is who you would call on in a fucking battle. You would call on Yahweh. And of course it makes sense. I mean, it even talks about like his, what is it? Like his heavenly soldiers or some shit, he's
got the heavenly soldiers, and then you've got the whole pantheon essentially set up because it's Elyon gives Yahweh the throne or whatever makes him the boss after he steps down. So there's this whole pantheon and hierarchy within that system that is echoed within the Olympians, where you have Zeus and Kronos and this fucking the child eater and everything. So you see these like comparative elements to both, and like they happen separately of each other. But maybe it's because it all does come back to like Babylon and Mesopotamia. Maybe it's because during the like early civilizations, they're all fragmented pieces of like Gilgamesh and fucking like whatever came of that. Like,
yeah, it is so nutty that people just can't figure that out. I'm like, dude, we're talking about attributes. Like, think about it. Like back in the day, people, and whether they worship them as actual living gods up in the sky, or if they saw them for their archetype or what have you, however you want to look at it, people used to believe in Osiris. People used to believe in Zeus. People used to believe in fucking Odin. You know, like, nobody gets mad whenever we can all completely come together and acknowledge that that is mythology. That is mythology. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And I made a video and I pissed some people off. And I said one day, you know, I specifically was calling out the Christians because I had a bone to pick with them, because they're the only ones that ever talk shit in my comments. So I'm like, okay, here it comes.
They're fucking bad.
Oh, dude, you never get a Jew. You never get a Muslim. You never get a Buddhist. You never get it doesn't matter. It's always the Christians. The Christians are the ones that are just like fucking, you know, ants that are eating at rotten flesh. You know, it's just like, my God. And it's not to say all Christians. It's the extreme Christians that are that way. So
the least read on the material Christians 90% of the time.
Dude, 99% of the time. But I ended up making I made a video and I said, one day the Christians will realize that everything that they believe will eventually be understood as mythology. It's going to be a mythology. And for some reason, people believe it word for word. And I'm like, so you've never looked into any other religion then? You've just never, you're like a fucking horse with blinders on. You're like, nope, I found it. I got it figured out. I'm like, everything else you do in your life, you are logical, you are reasonable, you've managed to like find a way to pay your bills and get to work on time and raise your children. But this one thing, you've decided, nope, I found one thing and I'm not going to let anything steer me away from it. It's like, dude, get back on your, like, at this point, let's get back on a horse and buggy, because that's how we traditionally got to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, might as well go Amish as fuck about it, right? Like, we just go live like the
real.
Amish. They're the ones that got it right. Well, I don't know, though. I don't want to talk shit on the Amish, because they are the ones with like lowest autism rates and a bunch of other stuff because of some of the things they refuse to do. But
hey, I love them.
Oh, yeah, totally different podcast. But good. But dude, it's the Christians. It's the Christians essentially that made me write the book. It's like they like are absolutely the worst when it comes to historical understanding, or like the apologetics and the historical revisionary bullshit that they try to pull is fucking crazy. And what ended up happening is like it's all the anti-Semitism shit, right? And I'm not on the I'm not trying to be like pro-Israel. I'm just saying like the egregious level of low IQ anti-Semitism that was going on. I was like, do you fucking idiots not understand the historical pattern that you're also associated with? Do you not realize that all three Abrahamic religions are like essentially the same fucking thing and all work politically for the same fucking like end goals? It's like, you little dumbasses with your dogmatic nonsense and your fake giants and whatever fucking demons, fucking babies and whatever weird shit you guys are trying to talk about all the fucking time. You're missing the mark. It's that this is a fucking economic thing that works for them. It's like the pattern in human history. Anytime monotheism became like the strict thing, it was a consolidation of power kind of situation, right? You see it first with Akhenaten. He had all kinds of temples that were making money that were taken away from his cash, essentially. So what do? You can only worship the sun god. We're going to make it monotheistic. You can't give money to these other temples. If you do, it's illegal. Started destroying all those other temples. What ended up happening? All those fucking temple dudes who were like early fucking like they're Levant area fucking their people. So they were really upset about having their shekels fucked with, you know. So like they come and they kill Akhenaten, and now it's polytheism again, and all the temples are opened up and shit, right? You see in the early Judean culture, it happens with King Josiah, right? King Josiah Messiah decides that he needs to consolidate power in order to like bring the kingdom up and everything else. So what does he do? He rewrites Solomon's history. He rewrites King Solomon's history and pretends like he was a monotheist and only like fucking worshiped Yahweh, and thus Yahwehism is born. And this consolidation of power did help them quite a bit. It did like make the movement better. But then the 6th century Babylonian exile happens, and you see them move over to Persia, where Zoroastrianism existed. And like Zoroastrianism is the one time that monotheism kind of like came about for a pure reason, and it was because all of the human and animal sacrifice that was going on in Hindu culture made Zoroaster decide that there needed to be a reform. And so like he got rid of all of these gods that demanded, all of these devas that he had. So your demons that end up being coming into like your later Abrahamic faiths are all also born within Zoroastrianism, right? And so like this is them telling Hinduism like, yo, these are demons that are telling you to kill shit for them, so like don't do that anymore. Like the one true creator only wants you to think good thoughts, say good things, and do good things. That's all. He doesn't need you to worship it. Like if you look into Zoroastrianism, like Ahura Mazda is the perfect model for what you would want your creator to be. Mm-hmm. He doesn't demand worship. He doesn't demand that you like fucking do, like he wants you to pray, but he doesn't want you to like fucking, it's not about like, oh, you're the fucking great. It's like, pray for good stuff, make the world a good place, think good thoughts, say good things, you know what I mean? Like,
well, and then interestingly too, and I could be mistaken on this, I've heard this before, is Zoroastrianism known as like the earliest religion?
It's known as the oldest monotheistic religion. The Akhenaten's Egyptian thing is the earliest one, but it like was wiped out so quick that they don't really like, it's hard to quantify it as a monotheistic religion as much as it was a political upheaval that failed in a coup. With Zoroastrianism, it was like it worked really well. Like the Persian Empire fucking did phenomenal. Cyrus the Great, who was the Persian emperor in the Achaemenid, it's so hard to say those fucking words. I'm not Persian, you know what I mean? So like, this is the Achaemenid fucking era. He's named as a messiah inside of the Old Testament. Cyrus the Great, the Persian Empire, who was a Zoroastrian, is called as a messiah inside of the fucking Old Testament because he's the reason the Second Temple was built. Like this motherfucker is the only reason the Second Temple era happened. So like that is why all of like, so your Book of Enoch, right? Your Book of Enoch that everybody's like, oh my God, this secret hidden text. It's like they don't want you to talk about it because it takes the fact that all of the eschatology and angelology and everything else doesn't come from early Judean stuff. It takes away from the legitimacy of like the Jewish faith. Like Judaism separated itself from a lot of the dualistic stuff that goes on within Zoroastrianism, because Zoroastrianism, dualistic monotheism. So like there is a supreme creator, but there is like an equally evil entity out there, and they are at a constant war. And that comes from your like yin yang concept and everything else. Like, and so there is, sometimes you have to kill for good, and like sometimes like bad people do good things for bad reasons and type shit. And so I mean, like, sorry, jumping back and forth real quick. But,
I love it because you kind of have to go back and forth with a lot of it. You know,
like I think that's where you just lose stupid people. Yeah. I hate to say it that way, but you just fucking lose stupid people that can't keep up with connecting the dots. It's like you're standing at the red wire wall and they're just like, I can't look and tell which wire you're pointing at anymore.
Yeah, just stay here. I promise we'll try and keep it easy. But no, what's also interesting is wasn't it the 3 wise men were Zoroastrian, weren't they?
Yeah, they're magi. Like in Matthew, they're fucking referenced as magi, and so like your 3 wise men are referenced as, and this is where it like really. So in the Saoshyant prophecy, which is where you also get the universalist concept that has been given to Jesus Christ, because like Jesus Christ, if you go by like the Ben David and the Ben Yosef Moshiach prophecies that come out of early Judaism, that's a nationalistic savior. He does not give a fuck about anybody that is not part of that tribe, like anybody that isn't within the Jewish fucking stuff. And that's where you get a lot of the Zionist stuff that's going on, is because they're talking about the Ben David and Ben Yosef fucking prophecies out of old Judean. Christians are talking about the Syncretism, which is actually from Zoroastrianism, and like the end of the world and the resurrection of the dead and all of that. Actually, it comes from the Saoshyant prophecy. And so when they mix that in with the Judean Messiah prophecy is born within the Christian culture. And so like Jesus being visited by the three magi under the star is actually syncretism of the fucking Saoshyant prophecy into this new age religion of that time. So like, you know, like it's fucking beautiful the way that the truth refuses to like hide. It's like it's painted in everywhere. You can't erase the fucking connections that all of these things have.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's another reason. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love syncretism, but you know what spells out syncretism more than any other thing that you can't deny is astrotheology. Like, they are so completely intertwined. They are basically one thing because
that's all Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism, yeah, they're all the astrologer guys.
Dude, it's all about just telling stories of the stars and trying to map the stars and seeing what happens on June 21st on this year. It's like, it's mapping of, all right, how did my day go? How did my life go? What happened? And, you know, like as far as trying to keep records of what has happened on a day like this. And it's the simplest form of keeping a worldly clock, you know?
Yes.
Like,
yes, dude. So that's honest to God. So like, and I don't want to like, this is my firm position is until I have seen it, I am neither a globe or a flat earth person, right? But the flat earth thing makes sense to me because it operates like a clock. When you see the best models of it, it all operates like a clock, which is what makes the astrology thing work, right? So like if the astro fit, like, because if you're flying thousands of miles an hour, spinning around all this other nonsense, it doesn't make sense for it to be such a continuous like map that you can actually follow, right? Because there was a dude during the COVID-19 lockdowns that like was showing a bunch of different maps of the stars lined up together during different plague times. So like all of the fucking star charts that he had, and all of them had the same lineups of the stars. So like the Spanish flu and like I can't remember the name, like the Black Plague, but it was like almost every huge fucking plague thing that always happened during this particular thing. And a new one came out, the same guy, I can't remember his fucking name, but his same guy came out, and it was all of the wars, like the fucking Civil Wars, fucking like the Spanish War, World War, whatever. All of them had the same Aries whatever placement. And I think it's because we're in that right now. I think we're in that right now. So we might see an active hot war this year, but who knows? Like,
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, you just saw America and Israel's military start, like, they just became one thing. And I'm like, okay, so are we trying to build our own version of the EU now? Is that what's kind of going on over here? And I mean, I don't know, dude. It kind of freaks me out a little bit because if we start implementing Israeli laws over here, those are very different cultures, bro. Like and I'm not sitting here to say who's right, who's wrong. I'm just saying whenever you mix cultures and you mix what's okay with what's not okay in other cultures, look what's going on in France. Look what's going on. Dude, France has been torn apart because of essentially allowing in people who kind of were, I don't know. I don't want to say running from their homeland, but basically like they had to get out of their homeland. And now the France and really a great part of Europe, I mean, Ireland too, is another one that is going through troubles trying to implement these different cultures. And the crazy thing is that people are like, if you're a foreigner in these lands, you're less likely to get an extreme punishment for things that everybody else in your country will be absolutely punished for. And that's like, wait a second, why are the rules different for these people and not, you know, it's like, you want to cause like a revolution. That's how it starts right there. Whenever fairness goes to the wayside. Like, anyway, this is not about politics, but the point is that like, man, it's just crazy the way the world's coming. And so the people that are like, yo, dude, I mean, it's not very often that an empire lasts longer than 250 years, and probably for good reason, as we're seeing right now with all the data centers and the merging of the militaries. And it's like, what is getting ready to happen? And I feel like a lot of people are starting to intuitively feel that as well. Like I've heard so many psychics and people of that same sort that are just like, dude, I don't know what is coming. It's hard for me to see, but I feel it. You know, it's almost like the rumbling whenever you know, it's like the ground shaking as a T-Rex is maybe a couple 100 yards away. You know, it's a cup of water starting to shake a little bit.
So, like, not to sound like a fucking kook or anything like that, but I used to have dreams pretty consistently that, like, I would base decisions off of because, like, they felt like the future, right? Like, I'm in the position that I'm in right now because of the dreams that I was having, right? And, like, and I don't like to share that too terribly much because it sounds kooky, right? But, like,
Not over here, baby. We love it.
Yeah, because dude, like I live in the woods with my wife on our property because of following these dreams and listening to the signs. I don't get any anymore. It's like there's nothing happening that I need to make moves on. It's like there's nothing I can do to change anything past whenever, I like, and like the dreams kind of stopped like 2 or 3 years ago, and I've just been like, I'm like, what did you stop? You stop connecting or some shit? But like, I don't think it's that, man, because like I have dreams still. I just don't have any that seem like they're trying to help me plan for the future. I just kind of have dreams that are like, well, enjoy it now. Enjoy what you got.
Let me freak you out. That is a perfect segue for something that I wanted to tell on the show. All right. So for the past couple of weeks, man, I've just been really feeling like kind of out of sorts and not really aligned. And that might seem woo woo or hippie, but like, dude, look, whenever you're kind of going down the spiritual path and you're always trying to, at least you're always reminding yourself to make spiritual decisions and not earthly material decisions. That's where I've gotten in my life, right? And so it had been like 2 weeks since I meditated, which I never go that long, but I could feel almost like a spiritual draining or like a mental draining. I've been feeling more tired. I've been feeling less connected. So I was like, all right. And I've been doing things that I normally wouldn't do if I always had, the spiritual mindset at the top of the dome, and so I'm like, all right, I'm not this. I'm trying to evolve myself. I'm trying to make better decisions. I'm trying to become a more, meditative kind of person. And so I sat there, dude, in meditation. But before I did, I came with the idea of like, all right, am I able to get back on track? And is there anything that's preventing me? I never like to look at anything that's preventing me because I feel like, me in union as a co-creator, there's nothing that could ever stand in my way. That's just my mentality.
Facts.
And that's, I'm not ever worried about fucking demons or jinn or any of this bullshit because guess what? They're the ones that are trying to steal our loosh and I don't need nothing from them. They have nothing to offer me. They're trying to get here. They're trying to get to where I'm at. And I'm already here, bitch. You can't mess with me right now. I'm on the world stage. You're just in the background. Like you're barely an afterthought. Why am I worried about you? That's the way I look at demons and stuff like that. So I really don't trip about shit like that.
Bro, I'm so happy to hear you say that. I literally tell people that I can eat them. Like, no, I can eat demons. Like the creator has endowed me with the ability to consume them and use them as fuel. So like they stay the fuck away from me from it. Like
in the great words of Jack Black, step off. And
yeah.
So anyway, I was feeling, like kind of out of sorts and everything. And I started this Rosicrucian journey, but I've been slacking on it. And like, I need to stay up to date with it because it's a direction that I really want to go. I love all the Rosicrucian stuff. And so I was like, all right, am I still good to go? Like I almost like imagine the elders or the enlightened ones or whatever you want to call them, the masters, the people that, kind of rose. There's not really ranks within Rosicrucianism. It's really about like how devout are you with your practice and meditation and all that kind of stuff. But there are people out there, if you read a lot of Helena Blavatsky's books, she talks about like how there's these adepts or Mahatmas, which is basically just masters, like spiritual masters essentially. And within Rosicrucianism, we're told that one day you'll be visited by a master if you kind of stay on the track. And I'm like, sounds awesome to me. I'll do it. Right. So last night I had all this in my mind and I'm like kind of feeling out of sorts. I'm like, man, I just want to get back into the flow of it. So I got into a meditation and I'm listening to 963 hertz, which is that God tone. I'm trying to vibrate up there, and so I'm sitting there and for the first like 20 minutes, I'm finally vibing. I'm feeling really good. I feel like very synchronized from head to toe. And it got to a really weird point to where so I wear headphones whenever I meditate because I'm trying to get the hemisync going, right? And as I'm listening, dude, I could feel the rhythm of the meditational music at the soles of my feet. And I'm like, oh, I'm there then. I'm aligned right now, you know, like, and so I was like, all right, I'm just going to go with it. Dude, my whole body went numb, like numb as in like static TV, like that's how my whole body was feeling. I was like, oh shit, let's go. I get hype about that stuff, you know? And dude, it was the strangest thing because you feel like the deeper you go in meditation, the more detached you feel from reality, right? Like whenever I say reality, I mean like physical material reality. Like that's such an afterthought whenever you get deep in meditation, because the depth that you achieve within meditation is more real than this material world. And you know that in order to give your best self in this material world, your glass has to be full, which in my opinion I don't want to say is the only way, but is bestly achieved through regular meditation. And so I end up getting to this point. Strangest thing, dude, I was trying to turn my brain off. I wasn't even trying to think. And I had this image. It was like, dude, this huge fucking black guy. I don't know, maybe he was African or maybe he was Egyptian or something along those lines. He had like the Egyptian kind of garb on, right? And he takes like this, I don't even know, like it was like a big ass necklace. It was like, it kind of reminded me of like a Hawaiian lei or some kind of something. And I didn't know what it was, but he was like getting ready to put it over my neck. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I wasn't even thinking about this. It just popped into my vision, right? And it was a whole scene. It wasn't even pictures. It was an entire scene. I saw it from start to finish, right? And like there was like a crowd cheering in the background. It was almost like they were happy to see me receive this like big necklace thing. And I didn't know what the fuck it was. Anyway, meditation ends. It ends, and I'm just stuck in thought. I'm like, what was that, right? So I decide anytime I got a question like that, dude, I always pull a tarot card. I'm like, all right, is there a card that can corroborate with some of the messages that I'm getting in meditation and kind of set that intention, right? Dude, the card that I get is the Six of Wands. And if you notice right here, at the top of one of his wands, he has a wreath. And on top of his head, he has a wreath. I looked at that and I was like, that is exactly what that was.
Oh, shit. Yeah,
I was like, what the actual fuck? Damn. And what I found is that, and I'm just going to read this real quick because it was such a magical moment that I just really wanted to share with everybody, dude. Like I was high-fiving after this, right? But it says, after struggling your way through a period of competition and opposition, you emerge victoriously in the Six of Wands card. On this card, you see a young man on a white horse symbolizing purity, riding through a cheering crowd, raising their 5 wands in his honor. Bro, this is exactly what was going on in that meditation. Yeah, and the rider raises his 6th wand higher than the rest, and both he and the wand are adorned with laurel wreaths, symbolic of victory. The 5 others in the crowd around him are reminiscent of the 5 young men fighting in the 5 of Wands card, but this time they're gathering to acknowledge the victor with their support. And it's like, oh my God, that is the craziest thing. It's almost like I almost feel like on a personal level, maybe I was able to get over a hump. And not necessarily that I'm victorious or anything like that. Like, I don't look at it like that. It's more of like I was able to transcend that slump that I was in, and I'm now just setting forth on this more positive trajectory. And just to be able to victory, bro. To be able to have the meditation and the card align like that, I was like, dude, that was magical. Like that was, to me, that was one of the most magical things that's ever happened.
That's cool, dude. Level unlocked.
Dude, real shit. Yeah, like. I would totally treat it as a victory, dude. Don't undercut your victory, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that was a win, man. Like, it's fucking awesome when that kind of shit lines up. I love tarot. Like, I for a while there, dude, I had really done a deep dive into it. You know who Edgar Cayce is? Oh, yeah,
of course.
Okay, yeah. So Edgar Cayce, I fucking got into him, and that's what like ended up getting me into tarot. And it was because there was like a numerology. There was if the creator is anything, if God is anything, if there's a language that speaks, it's got to be numbers, right? And there's a numerical association involved in the cards. There's also a mathematical probability set into motion when you shuffle the cards. There's all kinds of different variables that come together. So because that card has so many different, or that deck of cards has so many potential shuffles that it can create, you are an unlimited generator. Whatever you came up with is going to be specific to you. So like that's where the whole mathematically it all makes sense, especially when you align intention to it the way that you're doing there, where it's like, because dude, yeah, I used to lay out like I'd put 7 cards out, and first I'd get the good read on just the visuals of the card, but then I'd go and break down the numerical values of all the cards, and then I'd take and get the numerical values and go and find out what those numbers meant in the different. I I really like to use Hebrew gematria, because
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, because if I put my full name in Hebrew gematria, it says the real Jesus Christ. So my name and the real Jesus Christ are associated with each other, and I used that numerous times to manipulate people in ways that I probably shouldn't be as proud of as I am. But like, goddamn it, dude, it's like when you get people to start believing that you might be Jesus Christ, you start being like, hey, dude, no, like maybe I am though. Like I got these people believing it, so like, why don't I? Like,
I mean, the truth is that we all have that capability.
That's right. That's the truth, though, is like, so to be honest about it, right, is that you're Jesus Christ just as much as I'm Jesus Christ, just as much as your brother Cody's Jesus Christ, just as much as like John down the street who's drunk as fucking high off his ass is Jesus Christ. It's just like we all have that divine spark within us, that we are the temple. We are the host of the Holy of Holies. Like that's honestly, so that's one of my favorite things about like symbolism within the Bible, right, is like there's the moment when Jesus finally dies on the cross. And what happens at that moment? The purple curtain within the temple tears. Well, what is the purple curtain? That is the wall that separates the holy from holies from everybody else, right? And so like only the highest rabbis and everybody could go in there to talk to God directly. Essentially your Pope, right? So like the thing that Jesus destroyed is the thing the Pope asks you to go and sit inside of to like tell you his sins so he can get blackmail on you to like force you to do things for the Vatican later. But like, because that's the fucking right, like it's a blackmail system. That's what that is right there, is you go in and you sit with some asshole that likes to poke little boys and tell them all your sins. And then later on he calls you and he's like, hey, you remember when you cheated on your wife? Well, I might tell her if you don't fucking go and take this van for the church somewhere. All right. Like, listen, so like, this is how you get forced labor out of people, is you trick them into telling you their sins, because if you don't, God will be mad at them. Fucking ridiculous. Sorry to get on that tangent.
No, I mean, but I love what you're saying too. Like that kind of idea. It reminded me of a story that I covered a long time ago, and I was trying to remember what the name of the woman was. But the idea of like that tearing of the veil, that you don't necessarily need kind of an intermediary or a medium in order to, reach the heavens and to talk to God and that kind of stuff. And this is on Arthurian level, Arthurian legend. Sorry, that's a tough word. But it's about Merlin, right? Have you ever heard of Merlin being trapped inside of a tree?
So I might be conflating Merlin with the bitch in the water. Is there another version of him being in a lake, or is there
bitch in the water, otherwise known as the Lady of the Lake? But anyway, yeah, her name is, some people call her Nimue or Vivienne, but I've always known her as Vivienne. She traps Merlin inside a tree, and some people are like, oh, why would she do that? Everybody loves Merlin. But the idea is that Merlin kind of always held himself above everybody else, that he essentially had like all this God energy, and that he was stronger than everybody else and all that kind of shit. So Merlin actually trained Vivienne, or the Lady of the Lake, in magic and mysticism and all of that kind of stuff. And she always looked up to him like he was untouchable. He was like next thing under God kind of deal. And so she traps his bitch ass in a tree and is like, there's no greater than anybody else anymore. Like, you're no longer somebody who has greater power than everybody else. We all have the same amount of power now. And I mean, dude,
evil Morty his ass.
Evil Morty. Yes, exactly. But no, I think it's awesome. And just going back on the tarot cards, I saw this explanation, dude, and I needed to read it. But for anybody that is curious about, maybe you want to buy your first tarot deck or you're interested in how it all works, dude, this is the most perfect explanation for how tarot works I've ever seen before. You can apply whatever meaning you want. You can say it's your ancestors influencing it or your angels or what, God, whoever, doesn't matter. Your imaginary friend, doesn't matter. It's about what you believe is ultimately really what it is. But I believe what is actually going on is what says right here. It says, what we see in the symbology of tarot derives in large measure from our own intuition and, once revealed, reflects back upon each of us to further enrich our lives. Dude, it's literally, everything's a mirror. Everything projects from the intuition to the outer world. And I feel like the tarot is no different than that, to be honest with you.
Oh, 100%. Well, I mean, like, shit, even the story of Jesus is inside the tarot. Like the hanged man, it's like you got the hangman and then death. And then you have, I can't remember what's before the devil. But like you essentially, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, baffled above the universe, and so like that's 100%. Like I think that the amount of symbology, because that's it, right? We speak in a mimetic, human beings, we actually speak in this mimetic kind of language where we use pictures and symbols. It goes all the way back to cavemen drawing, like fucking shit, be like, oh, danger here, scary shit over here. That's what these fucking little signs on the wall mean, type shit. And it's like we can derive so much information out of these symbols that it's language, I think, ends up fucking that all up. I think that what we do is we have people that struggle to understand spoken language well, and they're easily taken advantage of by somebody who understands the symbols and can speak well. Like if one person can't articulate what they understand in symbols through words, then they can be confused easily with words about symbols. And I think that's where you see these institutions maintain their power.
I believe it was up until like 1880 it was in the late 1800s up until like 1880. Oh, let's just say it's 1880. 80% of the world was illiterate, couldn't read, bro. And which is literally fucking up until about 150 years ago, most people didn't know how to read. And so essentially they were being told, like, what's the story? What's the belief? How should you read how should you interpret this kind of information? And so you would have essentially like elites of the community that would be relaying and teaching all of this information about what you should believe and what's heretical and what's a sin and all this kind of stuff. And I think it's just crazy, dude. Like, here we are, finally have every bit of information right at our fingertips, and people are still acting as if we live in the fucking 1800s. It's like, dude, let's move on. Like, let's take all of it in, run it through a strainer, a nice little colander. We don't want any more wet noodles. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get all that juice out and let's fucking see what's at the bottom. What is left. And
I 100% agree, but it's such a threat to the power structures. You know what I mean? It's these three Abrahamic faiths that consistently fighting with each other over who has supreme authority over the truth, right? Because like if you really come down to brass tacks, that's all that it is. It's like Christianity, Islam, and Judaism all want their name on the fucking package. Like, before it goes to market, we have these three fucking CEO founder heads that they're arguing over the name of the goddamn brand, and like they're willing to destroy the whole fucking world with nuclear weapons just to make sure that theirs is the name that goes on the fucking brand.
Bro, I don't even think that they believe it. I think that that's the story that they tell their people.
Yeah. Dude, you can see it with the Pope. Like, if you watch the behaviors of the Pope over the last few years, like, it's just, you're like, this guy doesn't believe in this fucking bullshit. Like, this guy understands that we are in a situation now where we need to figure out how to make cohesion happen on scale. Like, all of these religions worked as human farming mechanisms when we weren't hyper connected. But now that we're hyper connected, it's really hard because like the Christian guy is going to fight with the Muslim guy, is going to fight with the Jewish guy on the internet. And like, this is causing problems in the real world because the fucking civilian class is now starting to, like, there's people like us. There's like, I feel in my gut that there's more people like you and I that are coming to this like realization that it's like, the fucking packaging's fucked up, but the thing inside. The chocolate inside is really delicious. They just did a terrible job branding it, guys. So you just peel away the layers and realize that it's parfait. It's not an onion, it's parfait. You just got to get down to like, it's okay. And so within that, I think that you have this huge swath of people that's starting to recognize that these religions are fighting over bullshit, and I think we'll see a collapse of that. I think you're going to see a large amount of people finally stand up and be like, hey, the three of you assholes are the real problem. Like it's not any one of you specifically, because like if you look at these internet arguments that are going on all day long, every fucking day anymore between these three groups, is they're all saying the same talking points and pointing out the same behaviors that the other group is doing. It's that Spider-Man meme. Like it is literally the fucking Spider-Man meme where there's three of them and they're all pointing at each other and they're like, oh yeah, but look at you, what you did, and you did, and this guy. And it's like, yeah, sure. Did Epstein have a bunch of fucking kids and all that shit on an island? Yeah. Well, did the fucking Catholics have a little kid climbing out of the fucking window at the Vatican City that one day? And are they not constantly shuffling their pedophile priests around so that they don't get fucking caught up? And like, you know what I mean? Like does Muslims not have their weird bakahata body or whatever bullshit that Gadsad's always talking about? Like, you know, so it's like all of these fucking groups have the same fucking problems, right? It's like you can't give any, and like everybody always wants to talk about like the Muslim countries like they're absolute dog shit, but it's like, no, like there's quite a few Muslim countries like Turkey and Saudi Arabia and all this other stuff that don't get bombed to dog shit all the fucking time, and it's because they don't have the fucking oil. Like that's all that it comes down to, is it's that these fucking people who are stuck in this area, and they need those people there stuck in this area, because who the fuck's going to work the oil fields? You need these dogmatically crazy religious people that were willing to work for any fucking thing because they're starving to go and do your goddamn oil fields. Like you're not shipping in your best and brightest. Like, you know what I mean? Dude, like what the fuck, dude?
I tell you what, like, and it's crazy to link Epstein and all of this like crazy immoral shit to the rest of the world and to the elites and to the elites of the religions and stuff like that. And I feel like a lot of it kind of gets glanced over. And a good example of that is like, why do we not hold everybody up to the same level? And I'll give you an example. So I can't remember which sector of Judaism does it, but there is a sector of Judaism that whenever they go to circumcise little boys, they suck the blood off.
The weird, yeah, dude, yeah,
They
the weird
suck
fucking shit.
the fucking blood off of baby wieners. And you're like, what's happening? And then you look at like, have you seen Tim Tebow? What he's doing?
No.
Tim Tebow, I mean, love the guy. Seems like a very genuine person. I mean, outside of the dogmatic kind of stuff, but ultimately, I feel like it makes him a pretty good person. Aside from this part, do you know that he has himself gone and circumcised people, like kids in foreign nations?
What?
Goes to foreign nations, like thousands of kids he's done this to already. Circumcises them himself. You're like, why are you touching all of these little boys' dicks, bro? Like, stop
You're
with
not a
that.
doctor, bro. Like, do you go to medical school? Like, holy fuck, because you can botch those real easy.
Yeah. You can die from that. They get infected. Like, you hear about medical malfunction with that kind of stuff all the time. And you're like, dude, at this point, just like come out as a fucking pedo. You know, like that. I can't look at you any other way.
Yeah, it's like, just be a normal pet. Like, you know, I hate to say that, right? Like, but it's like, for the love of God, just be a fucking normal pedo so we can just put you in prison and be done with it. Like, fucking play actor like a doctor and shit. That's weird. That's a whole new level.
Like you're doing it because God said. It's weird, dude. Honestly. Especially like that's part of the old covenant. Yeah. Like that's not even part of what, I mean, Jesus said to keep some of them if you needed them. But like all in all, he was like, bro, like I'm the new way.
There was this Jewish guy that had came out and was doing like an anti-circumcision fucking thing. Like he was this young Jewish guy that like seemed very passionate and pissed off about circumcision and was explaining how like, and the dude looks kind of like Jake Gyllenhaal. And so like, I thought it was a fucking movie at first. And I was like, this is a weird Jake Gyllenhaal movie. This like talking about anti-circumcision, but no, he's a real guy, dead serious. And I guess it fucks up all kinds of shit for you as a dude. Like it's akin to like the female mutilation, genitalia mutilation, in terms of like what you're removing nerve ending wise. It's just not as like lethal because it's not as it's sensitive skin, but it's not internal flesh type skin. You know what I mean? Like the labia and all the shit that they try and like slice off is much more connected to things that'll make you bleed out.
More tucked in. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it is strange though. It is strange. Like, why? I don't know, dude. Anyway, look, let's get back on the syncretism track.
Yeah.
Because we went off the rails there for a minute, but that's okay.
Every podcast has got to, right? Like
it'd be that way. But look, I actually pulled up a list of examples whenever it comes to syncretism about a lot of religious figures and myths and over the years about how they relate to each other. And so obviously you got Greek and Egyptian gods oftentimes are very easily like they kind of go back and forth. And a good example of that would be Zeus and Amun, or Amun-Ra, which is basically the sun god kind of deal, right? Then you have Hermes and Thoth, which is Greek and Egyptian. You have Isis, which was basically kind of worshipped and spread all throughout Greek and Roman worlds. And so she's kind of like a famous figure within both. But Mithraism, Serapis. All right, let's get down to Judaism. This is going to be a fun one.
all right.
All right. So within Judaism, and you kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, about the second temple in Judaism that was absorbed from Persian ideas about angels and demons. And also the idea of resurrection and final judgment was a very Persian thing, right?
Yeah.
And a bunch of weird stuff as far as Judaism. There's so many, I don't even want to stick on one thing. But let's get over to Christianity. Why not? So, and most people have probably heard these before, but like Christmas being celebrated on the winter solstice is kind of like,
right. Was Nimrod's birthday, right? Like, so when you really look into that, like the 25th ends up being Nimrod's birthday. So there's your like Mesopotamian god. And that's why they're told not to bring like Christmas trees. They're literally told not to bring Christmas trees in because it's like worshiping Nimrod. And like, that was a whole fucking the way of showing him. So like it's another one of those weird things that they refuse to acknowledge is like them breaking their own fucking religion, as they're like, oh, the Christmas is for Jesus and I brought my Christmas tree in, and it's like the Bible told me not to do that, but I don't give a shit because I like my nativity scene, which is a graven image.
Honestly, it is. But I mean, and you can say that Christmas and Easter are pagan holidays. I think that a couple of the attributes were absolutely taken from that. But
yeah,
it's almost to say that like, all right, well, I'm not the first person that's ever been named Jonathan. Did my mom steal my name from some other kid? It's like, well,
right.
Not necessarily. But influenced is the proper term, I think.
And I think that's why we go with syncretism, right? Like that's because like syncretism, well, I don't know. I guess there's kind of a stigma in culture and like a lot of like, but I think it's because it causes identity crisis for you to accept that it's like, well, your religion isn't like the one true honest thing. It's just like we took the best things from the last thing and applied it to some new things that we created. And we'll probably do that again in the future. Like we'll retcon things again later, name it something else, pretend like that old shit never existed. Like that's just like kind of the pattern that we work on.
Well, and I tell you what, even nowadays, I can already see what direction it's going, bro, because people are already looking at aliens as if they're saviors. I'm like, dude, we got to get out of this fucking savior mentality. The only person that can save you is you. Literally, there is no other more powerful force out there. The same spark that is within you is the same spark that was in Jesus, is the same spark that was in Buddha, is the same spark that was in all of these, mythological gods or what have you. There is no separation. Like I don't know about you. I kind of come from a non-duality kind of belief that it's all essentially one giant thing. There is no separation. You're no different from me. And as a matter of fact, exactly how your life has worked out, if I was born into your body, your life would have still panned out the same exact way.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, just different circumstances. So that's kind of the way I like to look at it. And so whenever people are like, this religion, no, that religion, no, you're going to hell, no, you're going to hell, I'm like, dude, come on. The fuck on. Look at it bigger picture than that.
I had some really fucking crazy experiences on LSD because I was studying esoteric stuff and like fucking a lot of Enochian language and Aleister Crowley and MK Ultra and all this shit while taking like insane fucking like hero doses of LSD, right? And I had this one experience where I was watching this video on somatics while also reading this fucking thing talking about how the word being the first thing that's mentioned, and the word was God, is like talking about how that like is referring to a vibration, right?
The
And if you
logos.
watch, and so if you watch how like the vibrations affect stuff through cymatics, you end up kind of getting this idea that like, well, no, that is everything. That's all, like, I am a specifically tuned vibrational frequency that is being beamed into a material realm that is like organizing carbon matter into the specific fucking identification that is me. Like, but I am not this fucking organized carbon matter. I am that frequency that is emitted into this fucking dimension to organize the carbon matter. Like, so frequency, soul, carbon matter, material, I have to be beamed in for the material to organize. And when my spark is gone, that material fucking dissipates back into dust. Like, we come from the dust, we return to the dust.
And you know what? It doesn't even have to be like, if you want to, it's not sinful nature. It's not karma. It's not any of this other kind of stuff. Maybe that is just the nature of the universe. You know what I'm saying? Like the nature, if you want to look at it even more scientifically, people love, looking at it and comparing it to science and all that kind of stuff, which I do love that within, within Taoism, that, they have the yin yang, right?
Yes.
And that very same symbol was recently found in a zeroed in image of quantum entanglement. It's the same exact image. Like,
it's binary. It's like, just binary code.
Dude, it's the two fish that are forever chasing each other. That's it. Yeah. That's all reality is. And it's the craziest thing, but like, man,
which is funny because that's Pisces, right? Like, and so Pisces, your first and last sign, like the beginning and the end, it is in constant rotation. The fish always chasing itself. That is the universe. Like, we are.
Well, and that's exactly what the Mahatmas or the adepts, like the spiritual masters, will say, is that, look, everything that we can do, dude, if you read some of these fucking books, they are crazy, especially if you look into theosophy and Rosicrucianism and all that kind of stuff. You hear about these adepts that are able to achieve these insane superpowers. The Buddhists will call them cities. But basically, like these superpowers of materializing objects out of thin air, or the crazier, like even crazier abilities of out of body experiences and levitation and all this stuff.
Well, did you see the videos of that? Like, I can't remember which. I think it might have been the Philippines, or I don't know. It was some Asian country. But like, these people went over to talk to this guy because it was said that he could like generate energy and like light paper on fire and like cause like electric shit through his fingers.
It is this book that I'm reading right now. It's so funny you bring that up.
Bro, yeah, syncretism, right? Like, yeah, it's fucking, like, I'm telling you, like, that fucking guy right there is proof enough. Like, and the fact that, like, after they released that documentary, he was like, "Fuck you guys," and disappeared.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
I told you not to tell people that I could do this shit. Like,
well, that documentary actually inspired this guy. His name is Costa Danos. I don't know how to say it, but he's a Greek guy, and he saw that documentary, that movie or whatever, and he was like, I got to find this fucking guy. I need to find him. And because he was like, oh my God, this pyrokinesis is actually real. Like, that's crazy. And he said that, a lot of people were saying, well, it seemed fake. It seemed like it could have been edited, but he knew just like by like watching the guy that it didn't seem like a bullshitter. Like, he seemed genuine. He seemed sincere. And it also seems like we have the ability to achieve some kind of power that we're obviously being held down from. I mean, you think about all the spraying of the chemicals in the sky, the water, the food, everything is poisoned, and you wonder why. Maybe it's because if we didn't have all of those obstacles to be able to jump over, then we would all be able to achieve essentially some form of godhood, dare I say, right? And so
isoelectrics.
Yes. So he goes and meets this guy, right? And strangely enough, he finds him in some fucking like random ass village. Like, the odds of him finding this guy are like a needle in a haystack. Finds him, and he becomes a student of his, and he sees all of the magical things that this guy's able to do. Bro, this fucking I don't know if he wants to be called like a teacher of sorts. He calls him his teacher, but the guy that does the pyrokinesis, it's beyond just that. Like, you want to talk about absolute energy manipulation within yourself that is learned through Taoism and Qigong and crazy shit like that. This guy was able to take a chopstick and push it through a 2x4. Just pushed it through like it was butter slipping through wood. And this Costa guy, he was just like, it got to a point where it stopped surprising him. It was just a normal thing for him to see this kind of stuff every single day. Like, to be able to use your chi power to influence things around you and push things away. It's the wildest shit. But I think that we all had to kind of have that ability. It's just, how disciplined can we be in our practice in order to, understand how to manipulate the chi within us, and call it chi, call it, prana, your life force energy, the Christ, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing.
I'm going to call it a Kamehameha. I'm gonna call it my devil's root powers, bro. I don't give a shit. Dude, I think the potential that it's like a piezoelectric effect, and that's why they try and like calcify our pineal glands, right? Because like the pineal gland has got the crystal quartz in it, right? And if you can cause that piezoelectric effect, if you had enough control over your body to be able to actually activate those piezoelectrics, you could probably influence and conduct a specific amount of electricity output to a certain area. Because like that's what made me believe that guy's fucking documentary when I saw it. Because when I fucking first was watching it, I was like, I don't know, this setting paper on fire shit could be there's fucking fire paper that like barely needs anything.
Right.
So, but I watched it again, and there's a point where he's doing like acupuncture, and when he touches the things, they like, you can see the person's skin fucking like do like when a TENS unit's on it. If you've ever seen a TENS unit, yep. like he'll grab the little needle, and you can tell that person's fucking skin is reacting to electricity, and they visibly jump. And that was the part that sold me on it. I was like, bro, like the fire thing could be faked, but how did that motherfucker react as if it was being electrocuted? He's wearing fucking like linen shit, and he's got his fucking like, there's no hidden electric prods. There's
something to it for sure. And and this is not the first time I've heard of like special insane powers. Like if you read if you've ever read the Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, he talks about his master or his teacher, his name was Sri Yukteswar, was able to do all of the same like crazy magical shit. And the most fascinating part is that Paramahansa actually went all around to all these different communities and talking to all these different masters who were able to achieve these city powers. One of them was able to create fragrances at will with just by holding his hands together. Whatever you want, whatever smell you can imagine, he can create it literally by the energy that he's able to compress in his hands. You want to smell Aquadisio? Bang, give me a second. You want to smell fucking, blue waters or whatever. I don't even know colognes, but you know what I'm saying? Just any kind of smell could literally generate it within his hands. And it wasn't just like a weird, him kind of putting you under some kind of illusion or something like that. And Paramahansa was actually like, all right, is this an illusion? Am I just tripping? Is he telling me that I'm smelling this smell, but it's actually, he's just manipulating my brain waves or something like that in order for me to perceive this kind of information? Turns out no, because what he does is that he takes like a, I can't remember what kind of flower it was, but it was like a daisy, let's just say. He takes a daisy and tells him that, it tells the guy, hey, I want you to make this smell like lavender. And the guy's like, all right, give it to me. And so he takes that flower home, shows it to his wife, and he's like, hey, I got you some flowers. Didn't tell her anything. Hey, I got you these daisies. And she's like, why do they smell like lavender? So it's like, it's a real thing that there is a literal like smell convergence. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but there's something. Another guy had the strength of 100 men. There was another guy who could levitate. There's other guys who can create fire in their hands. And all of these things are possible. It's like, well, just hold on one more sec. I want to relay this into something real quick, because I think that whenever people hear stories about Jesus, they look at him as some kind of magical master, that the only one of all time that has been able to figure out how to walk on water or multiply loaves of bread and fish to the masses, or perform all of these insane healings and help the blind see and help the deaf hear and all this kind of stuff. Masters of Eastern, religion and philosophy and all that stuff have been doing this for thousands of years. It's just to the West, we only know that Jesus is able to do all these things. And so just like whatever Jesus said, all of these things that I can do, you will be able to do, and then some. Like Jesus was literally like, I ain't shit compared to what you can be. And people would just like kind of scoff over that. And I'm like, dude.
It blows me away how little they fucking read the goddamn book. And it's even crazier how many of them that do read the book that then twist and contort the fucking message of Jesus into some kind of weird fucking shit. And like, I know that there's parts in there, right? Like, cause there's like it's like Luke 19:27. He talks about like, if they don't want to worship my Father, then bring before me and like behead them or whatever. And like these are disconnected. These are in-group kind of deals that happen within all of these tribal religions, and they can be expected. But it's kind of how you can also tell that the guy that they were writing about wasn't the guy that wrote the fucking shit, right? Because if on one hand he's talking about like peace and love thy neighbor, and on the other hand he's like, well, if they don't accept my dad as the fucking guy, bring him here. And like, because one of Jesus's other names is the Great Divider, because he said, I came not to bring peace but the sword. I came to bring father against son and mother against daughter, and like fucking, you know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of like evidence that Jesus, and that's kind of where you see the Jewish influence of the original Messiah prophecies like shine through on Jesus, is like the universalist thing kind of disappears into this whole like, we'll fucking kill them if they don't do what we say, and fuck these motherfuckers, and like I'll come back to rage war. And so,
well, especially since most of the gospels can't be dated to any earlier than 90 AD. Like almost none of them. And you can argue that some of them might have been 65 AD, 70 AD, but even at best, the earliest possible argument that you could say is that the earliest gospels that were written down were in 65 AD. You're talking about 30 some odd years after he died that all of this stuff was written down. Dude, if this shit happened a week ago, you wouldn't be able to remember all the details, but let's wait 30 something years to write something down.
Yeah, dude. Well, and it's like, I love the people that'll try and be like, well, it was an oral tradition for so long, it's like they're just passing it. It's like, have you played telephone?
Because you can't, because there's no way to prove it. That's why they say that. It's circular reasoning.
It's fucking ridiculous. And and I don't want to shit on the idea of there being a creator and like, God and like all of these things. I think those are great ideas. I think they're a thing that connect us as humans. And I think that, man, my stepdad used to say all the time, perception is reality. Yep. And like, I kind of hated my stepdad. So like, I was always trying to figure out how to like prove him wrong. And like, it's like, well, it's because perspective drives perception. Right. And so like whoever's perspective you're sitting behind is going to drive the perception that creates that reality. And that's why you see these like echoes and mirrors of gods and different cultures and everything else, is because the human experience will never deviate that far away from what the fucking human experience is. And therefore the perspective may be different, but the perception of reality is kind of the same fucking thing. Like, it's like,
dude, what's so funny is that I was tripping balls with my cousin one of these like last year sometime. And he was just like, looking out at the stars, and we're standing outside and we're watching for orbs and stuff like that. And just looking at the night sky in general is enough to trip over. Right.
Fuck yeah.
And so we were outside tripping, and he just looks at me and he's like completely dumbfounded. He goes, dude, how are so many people so brainwashed with all of this religious stuff? They're so dogmatic. He goes, why do you think that's so? And I was like, bro, they're under a spell. Like, that's really what it is. You are under a magical spell that you've been under probably since birth, because you didn't really have, any say so. It was, you learn how to talk, you learn Bible verses, and it's so interweaved with what you know as reality. I don't know, dude. It's the craziest thing. But eventually I do believe that, I really do believe, it ain't going to happen in our lifetime. Give it another 100 years, maybe 200. Let's just be on the safe side. I'll say 200 years and all religion will be known as mythology.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm with you there. I think I mean, we might even see it earlier than that. We might see it in 50 years if AI keeps advancing in the fashion that it's advancing. Because like, bro, the way that they can... Yeah, AI and aliens. Dude, you know what scares the shit out of me out of all of it is like, have you seen organoids?
No.
Okay, no, like you want to go down a rabbit hole that will fuck your brain up, right? Is they have taken human stem cells, right, and then grown little brains, and then they've taken these little brains and turned them into fucking computers, and then those computers weren't good enough. They were like, oh my god, the computers work so fucking well. Let's put it in a robot. They've been putting these fucking organoids inside of little robots, and they can function, these robots, pretty fantastically because they are human brain cells, and the amount of neurons packed into one brain cell is enough to fucking like program an insane amount of shit. That's how our bodies operate. It's fucking nuts. I'm terrified we're about to create a new fucking species, bro. I'm terrified that we are going to create a species that surpasses us because it is truly the mixture of bioorganic fucking material necessary to beat us in every way possible. Like AI is not the threat. Fucking organoids. That's where Terminator comes from.
Whoa.
Like,
Okay. I've heard. I didn't know it was called that, but I love the name of it. Organoids. That's creepy as fuck, actually. But
right out of a science fiction novel.
But I heard the reason why they're even doing that is because it's illegal to clone a whole body, but it's not illegal to clone organs. I mean, they're already doing it with livers and hearts and all of this kind of stuff, so that you don't necessarily have to have not borrowers, but like donations and stuff like that. But I don't like it. Anytime you start fucking with stuff like that, it's like you're like, where's the line at then?
Yeah.
Like I thought we had some kind of moral line, but maybe not.
Because how do we know at this point, dude, that we're not just in organoid brains? Like, how do we know that you and I aren't inside of an organoid right now that's operating inside of a different world, and this entire thing is just a construct of its fucking mind? Like, it could literally be all an illusion sitting inside the mind of a fucking robot that's doing its normal tasks. Like, the Matrix could be that level of fucking inception on us now, dude. It's
Remind
fucked
me
up.
to never trip with you, because you would fuck me up with all of that. What if we actually already are organized? You crazy bastard.
Man.
No, I mean, hey, dude, there's an amazing, immense amount of possibilities. We don't even know what the human actually is.
Right.
Like that kind of stuff just trips me out. How is it possible that we're all incarnated here, we're all living here, and yet for some reason, the main goal of like whenever you're trying to determine who's lived a successful life and who did life the right way, it's based upon how much work and how much money you've made. Like that is the successful part, which is crazy because we all know none of this shit gets to come with us whenever we die. So why is that the main goal?
Fucking dude, it's weird how they program that in us so deep that even once we're like aware of the circumstances, to where it's like, well, none of this really fucking matters. I don't need like gold fucking toilets or anything like that. I'm gonna be dead. We still try for it anyways. It's like they did such a fucking effective job at just getting that to be the mode of operandus. It's fucking crazy, dude. It is an interesting thing when you talk about like the idea of possibilities. Like it makes me think of the double slit experiment in a lot of ways, and I like to relate that to like the field of infinite potentiality, because it's like you might actually be the quantum vehicle that does drive exactly the decisions that you want. But the thing is you have to collapse the field of infinite potentiality onto that singularity line of the life you want to live. And you can't let other shit influence you. And I think that like there's some people out there that do this really well and just kind of melt away from society. Because regardless of how much the money, fame, success shit is ingrained in us, like that is society. Like those are all the elements that end up creating what we consider the civilized world at the end of the day. And so the more you strive to be a part of that, the more you like try to be involved in. It's like so when Andrew Tate, when I first heard about Andrew Tate, right? Like he was talking about all the like, free from the Matrix and stuff, like all the things you would need to say for somebody like me to be like, free from the Matrix, Morpheus, right? And so like as I was listening to him though and telling people what they needed to do to get out of the Matrix, I was like, Bitch, those are all the things that the Matrix does. Like, what do you mean cryptocurrency and getting on the internet and like having all this fucking shit that's like directly tied to all of the like surveillance system? Like, you're not helping people get out of the fucking Matrix. You're convincing idiots to jump in. Like, you're like the exact opposite of all of that. And so I think that the people that are the most successful are the people that do the opposite of what Andrew Tate was telling these motherfuckers to do, and they get the fuck out. They just find an exit. They get that one rich ticket that gets them enough to where they can set up and fucking disappear from society. And I don't necessarily mean being like a weird hermit out in the woods either. Like, if that's the option you want to take, by all means, collapse the field onto that potentiality for yourself. But I think that like a lot of these like super rich types, you never fucking hear about. Like the people who are living the most rich and most successful lives are not on TMZ. Like, those are the bread and the circus motherfuckers that are meant to like trick you into thinking that like shaking your ass and fucking doing whatever is going to make you money.
Yeah, it's actually quite crazy. You know, I never understood why a billionaire shows up to work the next day. Like, right. Why, what you can literally buy literally whatever the fuck you want. There's nothing you can't buy with $1 billion.
Well, and you know, it might be because of that whole fucking thing where it's like they say that they have $1 billion, but it's like they don't actually have a liquid $1 billion. They have like an asset that's currently valued at $1 billion. Right. So the bank loans them money. And like, you know, because like that's kind of all, like everybody was so pissed off that Elon Musk was a trillionaire. And it's like, no, he's not. His fucking company is an asset that the government did an audit on and decided was valued at $1 trillion. And so if he sold that company, then yes, he'd have $1 trillion. But at this fucking moment, if the stocks plummet and his company goes the fuck under, he is a broke motherfucker. Well, I mean, not broke. He's still clearly got actual money put away somewhere. But like these numbers are all inflated in order to make you think things that aren't real. Like, you know, it's like these oligarchs are all on loans from the bank that could be revoked at any second.
Like, yeah, exactly, dude. Look, I feel like we can go on with all this shit all day long. I want to get back over to the syncretism.
Okay, my bad.
No, it's all right. So, all right, we left off on Christianity. So you have Christmas, you have Easter, obviously. Saints, it says saints are often replaced by local gods or spirits in converted regions. Celtic Christianity preserved many pre-Christian sacred sites, which I guess it would. And this is an interesting one. The halo in Christian art that you'll always see, like a halo or like a sun or something like that behind the angels or Jesus or what have you. It was actually a symbol that was inherited from the Greco-Roman depictions of divine figures. So if you look at like what are some of the Roman gods? Caesar, right? Let's just take Caesar, for example. Any depiction you'll ever see of Caesar, he has like a halo or some kind of giant sun behind him. And that was because they used to worship his genius. And, you know, like, and it's just the same thing, but different. Same thing, but different all over the place. And
that's the most annoying part about the apologetics crowd when it comes to the Christian adaptation of all of the Greek philosophy, right? It's like they try to act like all of this fucking like great thought came out of Christianity, and it's like, no, you motherfuckers took a bunch of shit that was already written and was like, oh, this is good stuff. Let us put it in there. It's like they're very similar to Mithraism in that particular, because like Mithraism and Christianity were essentially coming up at the same time, competing with each other for like popularity, right? Like, but Mithraism used a lot of the symbolism that like showed Rome's original conquest of Sumeria. I think it was either Sumeria or Mesopotamia. One of them's the bull is like a serious symbol. Like it really like meant a lot to them. Like Baal and all those other things are fucking bulls and shit like
Hathor
that.
too.
Well, yeah, right. And so like Mithraism had this whole like killing of the bull is what created the universe. Mithra killing the bull is blood spilled, whatever, the water came out. And so like that just didn't catch on enough. So you saw that Mithraism started borrowing a bunch of shit from Christianity eventually, because like they just didn't have enough like ritual stuff going on. So they like needed to start borrowing from Christianity in order to like stick around, and they just eventually fizzled out. And they're both just products of like Greek and Roman culture trying to like create the next like it's trends, dude. It's like the next pop culture icon. You know what I mean? It was like these competing groups being like, who's gonna be our next Justin Bieber? Like, what the fuck are we gonna sell to these dumb sons of bitches next? Like, it's like, oh,
Yes.
we go back to our talk about Akhenaten and how it was like an economic thing. That's what all these temples have always been. It's the same thing. Like, I hate to say it like this, but Borshnikov Krokowski is the temple that I built. You know, people come, they donate to it, they like have good time, they listen to music and like fucking entertainment. But the metamystics, you've built a temple. They come to like we sell people, but we're honest about it. You know, we're not like, oh, here's the temple of the god, and like, oh, we're here to fight the fucking Nephilim, and they're hiding lizard people from you in the government. Like, we're not doing that. We're telling you to explore deeper. We're telling you to investigate, and people come and they listen because that's wise man talk. And so there's always been wise men that get out there and talk to people and try and help them expand consciousness in their minds and awareness of just like general interaction with society. And then there's grifters that like understand that like they need something that they can claim has higher authority than the wise man, that's just telling people to look within and be introspective and kind of like try and understand and evolve with the feelings that they're going through as they live life and the experiences they're having in it. You know, like it's like that's the difference. Is one dude has got this, oh, my father in the sky wants me to tell you that if you don't listen to me, and the other guy is like, oh, what does your heart say? Because like the creator will probably tell you if you just listen, like, but you need to go within because I am not an authority over you. And so it's like the sheep who want to defer it's this relocated deference. That's what it is. You know, like they're relocating their deference onto the guy who claims that he has a god that's like protecting him, because the dude that was a wise man just saying, look within, wasn't offering enough. You know what I mean? So that's like your difference. So the person that wants the wise man wants the person that's going to give them just enough to move forward. You know, he's going to teach them to fish.
And think about it like this, like, you know, that wise man that'll tell you to look within, and there, you know, that's where the kingdom of heaven is, and, you know, all of this kind of stuff. Like, it's a cool story to some people who haven't really discovered a lot of that within themselves. But if you build a religion, you say there's a savior, and all you got to do is believe in that savior, and then that's it. There's no contemplation. There's no thinking about it. There's no going within. It is believe in this external figure that is going to save you. And that's the exact opposite of looking within. That's the exact opposite of trying to find the kingdom of heaven within you. And as a matter of fact, whenever you bring that statement up as literally, it's literally something that Jesus said. Find the kingdom within, right? And I kind of butchered that, but
it's
in
not
so many
even
words,
non-canonical, right? Like it's not even like in the Dead Sea Scrolls; it's in the literal fucking Bible.
Yes, it's canon. Yes, and so it's interesting whenever you bring that up, people look at you like you're crazy. Like, what are you talking about? The kingdom within? Oh, that was just a nice thing that Jesus said. You know, it's all about your heart, and it's like, bro, why are we just whittling it down to it was a nice poetic thing that Jesus was trying to say? No, literally, take this fucking guy literally for once. And so it's just interesting. But no, you know, back on the topic of syncretism, you were talking about what was it, the wine or the blood that was flowing in the streets?
Oh, from the bull?
From the bull. And let me tell you, there's actually another story, and this could be a very good example of syncretism. But if you look back at the Egyptian goddess Sekhmet, okay, so it said that she was like going on this rampage, right? And she just wanted to kill all the humans, and she was like feasting on their blood, and she loved it because was it Ra or Osiris? I can't remember. I always get the names mixed up. But whoever her dad was essentially like going and telling her to wipe out all of these people that were against, you know, whatever their beliefs were, kind of deal, right? And so she was essentially doing all the dirty work, killing all the humans that weren't falling in line as the lore goes. And she became like really drunk off the blood, and she was like just bloodthirsty. She was basically a vampire. So shout out to my girl Sekhmet. But she, they ended up fooling her And because they were like, dude, you're killing everybody. Like, if you kill everybody, there's not going to be anybody left that's going to be here to worship us. And we need people to worship us, or else we're just going to die out with the rest of them, right? And so they end up tricking her bitch ass. And so what happens is, I didn't mean to say her bitch ass, but I just get on a roll and I get a little spicy. But they end up tricking her, and they're like, so they form like this crazy like this pact to basically trick her into stopping killing everybody, right? And so what they did is that they poured a bunch of wine out onto the streets, as the story goes. They flood the streets with wine, right? And so whenever she goes out there, because she's already very bloodthirsty, she gets real shit-faced off of all this wine, and she's drinking all of it, and she's super shit-faced. She ends up blacking out, and in that blackout stage, she has like this thing that happens to her where she finally comes to her senses. And that is whenever the transformation from Sekhmet into Hathor. Sekhmet and Hathor are the same character. It's just that Hathor is like the Raichu to the Pikachu kind of deal.
Got
right?
you. Okay.
And so Hathor, which is often seen as a bull, right? And so she's known as like this golden bull. And now that she's Hathor, she's very nice. She's very loving. It's somebody that everybody looks up to. And like a lot of people, if you're going to look up to an Egyptian goddess, Hathor is really the main one. And nowadays, even take it even farther, dude, you want to talk about syncretism in real time is what is going on with Chris Bledsoe. If you've looked into all of, have you heard of Chris Bledsoe?
The name sounds familiar.
So Chris Bledsoe is the one that has been being visited by all these orbs and everything. And he has this wild story. He was the one that was basically saying that like, for Easter this past year, there's going to be the star that lines up, the star of Regulus lines up with the gaze of the Sphinx. That was like his prophecy that he got. Then there's going to be like all kind of crazy stuff that's going to, align supposedly. And I guess a lot of it did align in some really strange way. But how all this whole shit started, where he started getting all these prophecies, was because, dude, he had so much trauma. I read his book. His book is called The UFO of God. He had so much trauma, like growing up, and his wife died at a really young age, and like crazy. Dude, his wife died whenever she was like 19 or something like that.
Oh, damn.
And he ended up getting like all kinds of health issues that he had to deal with. And like his company was going under and went bankrupt, and like very traumatic shit. I mean, there's a long laundry list. But after a while, he's like down in the dumps, dude. Like he is like he can't move because he has is it IBS or something like that? But there's something going on. Crohn's disease. That's what it was.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he has Crohn's and basically crippled because you can't go out of the house without having to shit yourself all the time, right? It's like IBS on steroids. And so he has all of these fucking health issues. And then lo and behold, one night he goes outside, and there was like this, I guess like a giant orb showed up to him. People are seeing orbs all over the place now. Like I can go outside right now and point out probably 20 of them.
That's crazy.
It's the wildest shit. But essentially this giant orb comes down almost like Glinda the Good Witch or whatever the fuck, and just getting ready to pop out the bubble. But out of that bubble comes out like this fucking, this bull. And this bull eventually like morphs into a person, and he knows this person as Hathor, right? And so literally Hathor the bull was the one that gave him like this prophetic message about that whenever the star of Regulus, aligns with the gaze of the Sphinx, then there's going to be a coming of a new age of sorts, and all of these crazy things are going to happen. And dude, he like prophesized that, and this was written in his book, like, I don't know, a decade or more ago, that Israel was going to invade Iran and all like wild shit, dude. I mean,
dude, yeah, that's a trip.
And so you're almost seeing a lot of these things like come back, which is crazy. It's like, all right, are these actual real things, or are they archetypes, or are we just pattern recognizing? Are the intelligences, call them aliens, or what have you, consciousness? I don't know what the fuck it is. Are they kind of like sending some kind of message in a way that is patternly recognizable?
Is it like, you think, because okay, so like we have the Fracrochetti in Zoroastrianism, we have Ragnarok in Norse mythology, we have revelations of Christianity. All of them kind of like, well, Islam's got a version of it as well. I just don't know what it's named. I don't know what their eschatological prophecies are called, but they all talk about like this end time spiritual battle between good and evil. Like, is maybe it is gearing up. Maybe we really, because one of my favorite things to like, I like to tell the Abrahamic religion groups that are arguing online that they're all Harimonic and that like they are essentially like they're Harimonic agents that are taking people away from Ahura Mazda. Like that's essentially like how it's, if you were going to view it specifically through a Zoroastrian lens, you would see the Levant people coming into Persia, tainting the religion and then taking it elsewhere. Well, like, where else would you assume the taint came from if you were a Zoroastrian? It's Angramanu. Well, it's called a Harimonic. Well, they're called Abrahamic. A Harimonic and Abrahamic, insanely close to each other, right? And so they stole all the eschatology and angelology and demonology. Well, like, why the fuck would they do that unless the Harimon needed all of that stuff inside of these religions in order to bring on the Fracrochetti? So, like, there's part of me, like Ragnarok, Fracrochetti, whatever you want to call it, the end of the world. I'm like, there's part of me that's like, I could totally see it. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the way the Abrahamic faiths think it works is how it really works. And I think it's because they've all got stolen prophecies. All three of them, not just one of them, all three of them, stolen prophecies, stolen fucking like philosophies, all of that shit is an amalgamation of somebody else's shit. So, I mean,
no, I agree. I mean, it's all, and that's the thing about syncretism is that you're trying to find out, and this is what you mentioned in your book that I really love, but it's not necessarily whenever you're trying to find where the syncretism lies, it's not necessarily trying to see who stole from who and who stole what from who, but it's about trying to find essentially like the earliest version of the story to see how it's been, you know, manipulated and like what was added to the story, what was subtracted from the story. And then you can kind of see where the manipulation of that religion like what direction it was trying to go. Right. And that's the coolest thing about it.
Right, because you start to see when you apply human history to that story where you're like, okay, well, it happened. The manipulation here happened because of a political power move that needed to happen between these two countries. So like they had to get people to be willing to do this, and like they couldn't because the way the book was written said this. So they wanted this to happen this way, and like it's kind of like the iconography kind of situation, right? It's like, so you've got like I know graven means a carved image or whatever, but like idols, they're idols and they're these like graven images and like Mother Mary, all of these fucking things that the Orthodoxy and the Christian or in the Catholic churches do. It's like those all very much do qualify under like fucking idols that they worship, they venerate, and like the only place that venerate isn't a synonymous word with worship is in religion. Like the Orthodoxy is the only place where you will find that the words venerate and worship aren't considered synonymous words. Like they try to fucking, oh well, it's a difference in intensity. No, the fuck it isn't.
It's a spin-off.
Yeah, it's like you were using a semantic loophole to try and justify your bullshit in order to, like, you know, make yours different. Like, this is how you guys are signaling that you're different. And so instead of, like, having this togetherness, instead of allowing the syncretism to cause a togetherness, what they do is they cause this othering. You know, they're the bad guys. They're the bad guys. We're the good guys. Like, because all of our stuff's more right than their stuff. But it's the same stuff. It's just our stuff's more right than their stuff. And so that I think is where we find our real problem within humans right now, is the tribalism within us is so deep that the level of connection that we have together, we don't know how to quantify it. Like we don't know how to build the tribes correctly. Like it used to just be like, well, we'll move a town over and build our own town. Fuck you guys. And now we're the like fucking Presbyterian group, and you guys are the fucking Baptists or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it's like you used to just be able to go a town over. Now you fucking can't, because the internet's fucking everywhere.
It is everywhere. Yeah, you can't get away from it. It is so interesting. It's like the people that thought that Trump was going to be a savior. You know, like, and that's really how he got a lot of people behind him, because he's like, all right, I'm going to release the Epstein files. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to make, you know, certain, you know, shots a law or anything like that. Like you can do whatever you want, and it was essentially providing a sense of freedom and righteousness within the country that was seemingly forgotten in past presidencies and whatnot. And people really wanted to get behind that because they love the idea of America first. Well, now you see that like whenever you kind of believe in a, let's just call it a false idol, this could be what is to come, you know, because you're putting all your faith in one person or in one being or one thing or whatever. And whenever you do that and then it goes south or it doesn't go as planned, well, now you're left with either A, oh, I'm just going to become an atheist, or B, I'm just not going to vote for anybody, or C, you know, it really chops you down and tears you down almost to your core, and you have to almost rebuild your ideology about what the nature of this reality and the certain standing points where like how you look at people, and it's a clusterfuck. And so if we stop believing that there's going to be a savior, I'm not even trying to say that Trump was some kind of fucking savior, but I think people put him up to be for sure. And it's just so interesting because
they literally were calling. Yeah, they were literally calling him the Messiah. There was all kinds of people equating him to Cyrus the Great and calling him the Messiah and all kinds of other fucking weird shit. They did a lot of weird, like, he's a savior nonsense. And it's, dude, I think that it comes down to the fact that, like, I was saying that the relocated deference, like, you know, people don't want to take accountability. They don't like, so if you can have an idol or a saint and like, and you know, it's not okay to blaspheme the creator directly, right? Like you can't be like, oh, it's all God's fault, right? Like that's it, like, and you shouldn't. I'm not trying to advocate that that's the way, like, you should be. But since you can't do that, what do? You have a saint. You have like a Mother Mary or whatever, and so like now you can relocate your fucking agency to that thing. Oh, you know, I must have pissed off St. Thomas, so he didn't let good things happen for me. It's like, no, you didn't do things the way they needed to be done in order for good things to happen. That's all that it came down to. Are there some times where circumstances get in the way of good things? Fuck yeah. But a lot of the time, proper planning and preparation and making yourself like, you don't go win a fucking Super Bowl or a boxing match sitting on the couch all week. You're out on the fucking field training, taking accountability for yourself, personal agency, authority over yourself. That's what Jesus was fucking like preaching, authority over your fucking self. Don't let these assholes at the fucking temple tell you what God said. That's not how that works. Ask God what he said and he'll tell you. You know, like that's the idea. Like, fucking,
it's nuts, dude. Yeah, this idea that I don't know, dude. I'm just like at a loss for words at the level of carelessness and stupidity and the amount of like little research that people actually do within their beliefs. Like I'm sorry. I just don't have a lot of, I don't think very highly intelligent people are just going to blindly believe something. Like that seems like an ignorant thing to do, to blindly believe anything, you know, like whenever you're a little kid, we blindly believe that Santa Claus was real. We blindly believe that the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy and all these things were real. And now that we're grown up, we see how silly that was.
Yeah.
Why are we still doing it at a grander stage, looking at the macrocosm and pretending like we're the microcosm? Like, it's so silly. So anyway, all right. So we got Christianity. I'm going to go over a couple more things here. Cool. How about in Islam? So this is interesting. Sufism, which is basically like the mystical Islamic version of Islam, they incorporated local mystical practices from Persia, India, and Central Asia. And it's all kind of a coming together of, you know, I learned this, I learned that, I learned this, I learned that. And the same thing within Hinduism. Buddha is regarded as an avatar of Vishnu in many Hindu traditions. Within Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism blended with this thing called, it's an indigenous Bon religion, B-O-N religion. Chinese Buddhism absorbed Taoist concepts and terminology. Japanese Buddhism blended with Shinto. Zen Buddhism blended with Indian Buddhism and Chinese Taoism. And so they're almost like they're all sharing concepts and almost trying to frame it as their own, and not necessarily in a bad way. Personally, I think that, you know, you can look at a concept and be like, yo, Like, look, I mean, Superman took the fuck off, bro. Like, Superman was the shit as far as superheroes go. Then you get people like Stan Lee and other people who are like, all right, but what if there was a guy that was like this? What if there was a guy that was like this? And it all starts with an idea. Somebody who is seemingly invincible, somebody who seemingly can't be fucked with. And, you know, actually, Superman never had like any... he never had any downfalls at all. Like there was nothing you could throw up against him. And so that's why they had to create kryptonite. They had to bring kryptonite into the picture. Kryptonite was never something that was to Superman's dismay. If you don't know, like whenever Superman first started, people got bored with him. They got bored with him because he won in every book. You know, he won in every cartoon. And there was
Wasn't the original concept for his superpower is that like any situation he was in, his imagination, like he could think the power he needed for the situation, and that's like why the original concept made him so impervious. Is like, oh, what does he need now? I need ice breath, and like, you know, so it's like,
oh wow, yeah, I didn't know that part. That's interesting. But it's cool because you can see how things evolve from other ideologies, and I don't think that's, you know. That doesn't take away with religions and whatnot, but just understand that this idea, this attribute, this special power, this story is probably a handed down story from someone else. And you know what I always found really interesting? So a couple of years ago, whenever we really first started this show, one of my favorite topics to really look into was Plato and Platonism and Neoplatonism and stuff like that, right? And what I found really like especially special about Plato was this one thing where they said that Plato heavily influenced the Bible, heavily influenced Christianity. I'm like, wait a second, I thought this was God's word. Why is a philosopher influencing a holy text? That makes no sense to me.
No, not a goddamn bit at all, does it? So there's part of me that thinks that Christianity was actually like half created in response to Socrates and Plato's influence on the youth. Like, there's like part of me that thinks that the institution needed to like fucking hone the youth back in, so they created essentially like a superhero figure in Jesus to like be like, oh my god, look at this great guy! Like fucking, he did all this stuff that Plato talks about, and it made him like a superhero, and he did these things, and he's gonna come back and save you one day. Like we heard about that in Persia one time. Like it fucking like it's so like there's just a small part of me that thinks that Plato and the Aristotelian schools, like I think all the like fucking philosophical schools that were coming out of Greece were going to become too big of a threat to the power structure, and so thus like Christianity was born to kind of like combat that, like because they weren't doing the Jewish thing, you know what I mean? Like the Greeks weren't like, there were a lot of Jews in Greece, but they weren't like jumping on Judaism. They didn't give a fuck. Like that's why Paul had to use Zeus to get people to pay attention to Yahweh is because the Greeks didn't give a fuck. Like they were like, you can be here, yeah, that's cool, do your merchant shit, whatever, but like we don't care about like any of that. Like we don't think you're better than any of us because of your stupid beliefs or promises that some like Babylonian god made you some fucking time ago. Like we're kind of aware of that. Our gods have been coming down here and fucking us for a long time. Like let me tell you about Zeus. He's been coming down here and raping our women and creating these little bastards that run around and do shit all way too long. So I mean, I think that's what it comes down to, is that like you saw these individuals from the Levant region going into an area that was literally just intellectually more advanced than they were. So a lot of the like basic tricks that were being used to manipulate people into the religious groups didn't work there. So like you had to up the ante, like, or like, oh fuck, these guys don't believe in like sky gods anymore. They're over that phase. We need a god that came to earth, Jesus. You know, like it's.
I mean, if you really think about it, I think if you're going to go any kind of direction, whether it's religion or whatever you want to do, I think the most logical thing that anybody can do is to fall in love with philosophy. Like that is the most purest form of thought there is, in my opinion. And literally it translates, like whenever you break down the words, it's from the Greek, right? Philosophy. But so you have philo, which means the love or love of, and or is it philos or something like that? And then Sophia, which is whenever you put philo and Sophia together, it literally translates to the love of wisdom. And It's like, dude, how could we not all love this? Like, how is this not the source of all knowledge? And if the kingdom of heaven truly is within, wouldn't you have to philosophize about it? You'd have to internally try and think about it to love the wisdom, not even necessarily of all the books and all the great philosophers and all of the different mythologies and all that kind of stuff. I think that's great. I think we should use all of that as well. But the other half of it is inside of you. And the only way that you can philosophize about something is by thinking about it. It's like that is where the wheels are really turning, because whenever those wheels turn, nowadays people use the term like download, but it's like, it's bits of information. Whenever we process information, it causes essentially a new door of knowledge to open up that we didn't necessarily have access to before. And so it's like, this is the way. And as a matter of fact, before it was even called Christianity, Jesus called it the way.
Right. Yeah. It's like, dude, and it's like, well, and my favorite thing is like the word Christian. Like, since we're doing the breaking down of words, I was like, so your Christianity is supposed to mean like to be a follower of Christ, right? Well, if the word Christ means the anointed one, like like it doesn't, like the anointed, Christ is a title. Like that means titles can be given to anybody. Like so anyone could be anointed. Like so to become the Christ is to become the anointed one. Like so if you're going to follow Christ, then you would need to become anointed at some point, right? So to become like Christ. Like so there's like even within the name, it's like your goal is to become like Christ. It's not to it's fucking dude.
Like the title of the Christ. Yeah, it's to essentially like be on the path, to follow the path that leads you to your essentially your own inner Christ is really what's it talking about right here. Because once you follow that path, you eventually get to the end, and maybe that is where the anointing actually happens.
Yes. Yeah. No, and that's like
it's a journey.
And then and I think that's the thing that's cool about. I think that's the thing that's cool about when you finally like stop following the dogmatic nonsense and start really like just trying to like commune with the creator, like trying to actually get in touch with the creator, is you do find that like all of this stuff gets a lot simpler. Like it's not as like fucking heaven and helly fucking, oh, you karma and like, oh, you think you got to be careful about whatever it is. It isn't like that. Like it is super simple. Like it is like a positive intention. It is like wanting what's best for the world. It's like trying your hardest to make that happen. And like, and that's why so many people who are perceivably evil as fuck do so well, is because their intentions are fucking good and their intentions are set and they are driven on that motherfucking shit. And so like, yeah, is there a lot of collateral damage sometimes with these people? There's going to be when time you do something at that scale, but like they are positively set, like Elon Musk. I do not like Elon Musk. I think he is a fucking milk baby. Like that motherfucker is a dipshit, and I don't give a fuck what anybody says. But he is hella successful because he is convinced he's going to take us to Mars. He's convinced he's going to build the greatest AI we've ever had. He's convinced he's going to get those chips in people's heads. And whether he knows how evil that is or not, his intention is positive. He believes that shit is going to be good for mankind, and he will drive forward as hard as he can in order to make it happen. And so does it end up just doing all the fucking evil shit? I think so, yeah. Like personally for me, I'm like trying to microchip people is a little level of authoritarian that I'm not really okay with. And no matter how good your intentions are, the path leads to hell. But like, he's making it there. He's making it like
yeah. That is it is crazy, dude. You know what? Just to not hate on, well, you know what? Let's just spread hate on everybody. No, I'm just kidding. But just so we're kind of including everybody when talking about syncretism, I'll throw out some of my favorites. I mean, you guys hear me always talk about Theosophy and Rosicrucianism and Hermeticism and the Kabbalah and Neoplatonism. All of these. It is not a secret. It's not even heretical to say that this is all syncretism. Like it's understood that this is an amalgamation of Eastern thought combining with Western thought and older traditions combining with newer traditions. It's because it's not about like, oh, we're the first ones to ever come up with something and so therefore we're right. No, it's being able to see all the writing on the wall, all of the philosophy, all the religion, all of the spirituality, all of it collectively, and saying, all right, how can we use this to our advantage? How can we use this to kind of bring about our higher selves and bring about our higher spiritual nature and all this kind of stuff. And not trying to say that, oh, we're original, because even the people who were original that came up with the idea of being saved or being christened or any of this kind of stuff, that doesn't mean that they're like more special than anybody else that eventually ended up using those same terms. I think that's what people get hung up on. They're like, well, this is the first, so that means it's the most special, and that means it was out of God's mouth. And it's like, bro, you could... man.
So you just it's one of those things where it's like, do you just think that God stopped talking to people? You think back in the day, he just was like open fucking book, sending angels, doing this all the fucking time. You think he just quit? You think just one day he was like, you know what? I'm packing it up and fucking fuck this. I'm taking the show on the road. We're not doing it anymore. Like, I'm not talking to any of those people down there on that dirt ball I created. So you think you believe that for a long time, he was happy to tell people what was up if they were talking to him and doing the stuff, but all of a sudden just quit. No, that doesn't make any sense. Prophets have got to still exist. It's got to keep moving. The story didn't just fucking end.
Oh no, it's got to keep going. And that's the thing. Why I find it so crazy is that it's so believable to believe that all of these magical things were happening 2,000 plus years ago, but they could never happen now. There could never be another prophet. There could never be somebody else who would be able to, heal the sick and, heal the blind and heal the deaf and all of this other kind of stuff. And if they do achieve these magical powers, they're Satan. They're satanic. They're evil. Where are they pulling this power from? Where are they getting the source of this energy from? It's all it's so crazy to me. It's baffling to me that you believe in two of every animal getting on some giant wooden ship that was able to sail for 9 months or whatever it was, that they had enough food, they had enough shovels, they had enough people on there to take care of all those animals. But for some reason, if somebody learns how to heal by touch nowadays, that's of the devil. Why is it only magical and of God if it's 2,000 years ago? Why? I'd never understand that. And by the way, dude, this is a trend that a lot of people have been doing for a long time, but it's actually been catching up here lately. And I saw a dude do a TikTok on this, and I was like, you know what? That's right, dude. Even whenever I was going to church, we weren't raised in the church. I only really went out of curiosity, but there would be times where I'd be talking to people out in the crowd, or, maybe you talk to one of the pastors or whatever, and they would almost influence you to just open up the Bible, see what happens, see what verse you land on. And it's probably a message for you. And as a matter of fact, it's probably the message for you because God guided your fingers to, subconsciously pick the exact right page. And I thought, as this guy thought, that's interesting. That almost kind of sounds like divination. That almost kind of sounds like the tarot cards.
It sounds like tarot to me.
That almost kind of sounds like working with a pendulum and working with crystals and working with all of this woo-woo new age nonsense, as they like to say. It's like you're leaving something up to chance and you're calling it God. That's what we do. You know what I'm saying? But we're evil.
And it's like they want to add more steps because I got to fucking open a book and then find a verse and read it. It's like with the tarot, I just pull a card. And now if I know what the picture means, bro, it's all good. I didn't have to do all this fucking reading and fucking trying to decipher and translate. It's like, no, picture, horse, guy on top of horse, 6 sticks, got a little reef on him. Okay, success, victory, moving forward, time's good. Great. You know what I mean? It's they want to overcomplicate it and put all this extra English on it in order to maintain that false authority that they've claimed. And because that's really what it comes down to, right? Is there's just always one dickhead in a weird hat that's trying to fucking claim authority over you and your farmland so that they don't have to work as much as you do.
Yeah, that's really what it is. It's all about some kind of authority. And I don't even think that it's a secret, but I think that literally every religion was its own version of the world's government, or at least of that region's government. And, you break down government, it's governmente, which means to control the mind. That's literally it. So, that's what it means, is to government, to control the mind. That's what it means. Like, and so that's why I'm obsessed with etymology. Like, where did words first come from? What was their original meaning? Because even if the meaning has evolved or changed a little bit, it still has roots in the original meaning. All of them do. Especially words like that, like government, and like I love looking into the etymology of the word demon. Where did that word come from? Was that always something that was evil? And it's
it's like it means messenger of God. It came from the Greek daimon. It's like it's got his whole fucking own thing that doesn't mean anything to do with evil.
I'm like, it's the craziest shit ever. And so, dude, have you ever seen? Oh God, what is the name of that show now? It's a HBO show. Oh God, let me see what it was called now. I watched the entire series and I freaking loved it, and I can't remember what the name of it was, but
you were talking etymology, dude, and like one of my favorite ones to throw at them is that like the etymology of the word pagan, the Latin original definition for it is country dweller or person from the countryside. And so like when like you hear about like them talking about killing the pagans, so you're talking about city people who decided fuck those farmers, we're gonna go murder them. That's essentially what that came down to, is they took the word for fucking country dwellers and countryside. So it's the same kind of othering as like all those redneck backwater dumb hick motherfuckers. Like it's the same fucking thing.
Oh yeah, it's divisive. That's what it is. It's what's the Jewish word for it?
Is that goyim or goyim?
Yeah. And it's the craziest thing. But that show I was talking about is called His Dark Materials. I 110% like give a recommendation for anybody that wants to watch that. It's so good. But essentially everybody in that show, they all have like these little animals that walk around with them, and they call them their demons. Like it's spelled Daemon or whatever. But it's their demons. It's essentially like their higher nature or their higher self in an animal form that never leaves their side. And it's, dude, it is such a magical show. I love it. And that's really where I got the idea, because I was like, all right, where's the etymology of demon? Wait, what did she just say? That's her demon? What? Hold on. And, but no, if you look at the root word of how these words began, it's like, and that's another example of syncretism. Is the etymology, the etymological changing of certain root words that decided to, evolve with the culture and with the religion.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Fucking
crazy.
No, it really is. It's super fucking crazy when you start thinking about the whole like demons and everything else as like a internal nature more than like an external entity, where it's like, no, like you have a shadow side. Like I'm very into Jungian psychology. It helped me get through a lot of my own personal traumas and shit like that. So I really do think that concept of like your demon and like you have one, like it lives within you. Like you have just as much potential of being as Christ as you do as being like the devil. Like
you know what? To add on top of that, just real quick, if you ever hear a religious person, like if you talk to them about meditation, or if you talk to them about yoga or any of these kinds of things, they'll say, don't go too deep in the mind, because that's where you'll find demons.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that is where you'll find the demons at, because this scary, pitchfork character that you've made up is actually not. That's not what's going on. That there is a voice within you at the deepest part, and it's subtle. It's not going to scream out at you. It's something that is, call it your higher self, call it your higher nature, whatever you want, call it the God within. That thing within you, that God within, going all the way back to its roots, is your demon. And they don't need you accessing that, because if you were to access that, what do you need them for anymore?
Right. Yeah. No, yeah. Like you having actual connection to the divine is their biggest fear. And dude, that I think is why you end up seeing so many of these fucking like pseudo intellectual fucking grifter cults online that have developed, where you see them hyper focus on specific texts or non-canonical shit and try and build this platform around it. It's like the whole idea is to find people who don't have that understanding of the internalization of it. They want this external demon that they have to go fight, so they're willing to believe that there's like demon fucking angel hybrids running around looking to fuck their day up or whatever. And I'm not saying that there's not like weird species or I'm not saying giants, fairies, pixies, fucking unicorns and dragons aren't real. I don't know. Like, they might be. All I'm saying is I highly fucking doubt that these like pixie unicorn fucking things are the byproduct of angel rape. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they were just here already, much like we're here. Like, there's a lot of hominids and stuff. Yeah, bro. Like, I don't know why they need it to be something like so fucking ridiculously fantastic like that, and why it can't just be like a natural occurrence.
Because they're trying to push like faith and belief, like just try and stretch it as far as you possibly can. Like this idea of believing so hard, no matter how silly and crazy it sounds. And the crazier concepts that you believe, the deeper their talons are in your fucking back. Because now if they can get you to believe in all of these crazy, mystical, wild things, they can get you to believe whatever they want. They can get you to believe that if you don't donate 10% as tithe dollars every single year of your entire, work salary, well, I mean, God might not look on you fondly, so. That's what it's all about. Like, it's control.
Yeah.
It's what it's always been about. At the end of every show, we always like to do a tarot reading, and this one is probably going to blow your mind a little bit. I swear on my life, I never planned this. I always let it just happen because I believe that there are mystical elements of the tarot. Call it, my own intuition that is subconsciously looking for that. I don't know. Maybe there are outside influences. However it happens, it's always magical every single time. And this time is nothing short of that magic. That card that we got, just one card. The Hanged Man. Bro, we were just talking about that earlier. I showed you a flag of the Hanged Man.
Yeah. God, I love that card.
Oh, dude, it's one of my favorite cards of all time. And it just so happens to be the 12th step on the Fool's Journey. And let me take off these glasses here so I can read. It says, when you are suspended upside down, there is time to reflect and see things from a new perspective. If syncretism is not all about what we're talking about right now, is seeing things from a new perspective, like scrubbing the fungus of brainwash out of your mind and seeing it for what it is from a new perspective, that's perfect. But it says the Hangman offers the unusual gift of suspended time. His presence is associated with the time period that is meant to help shift your perception of a situation. The Hanged Man is suspended by one leg upside down from the tree of life. His hands appear to be tied behind his back. His free leg is crossed behind the bound leg and appears relaxed and resting. He has nowhere to go, so he is able to sit quietly in reflection, which shows on his face. He is calm, almost pensive, rather than distressed. The yellow illumination surrounds his head. Weren't we just talking about the halo?
Yeah, everything in the card is what we talked about.
That is crazy. We're talking about the halo or the sun or whatever behind the head, right? I'm telling, I couldn't have guessed that. There's no way, But anyway, the yellow illumination surrounds his head, suggesting spiritual enlightenment is occurring during this time of pause. This is a time to surrender and not struggle. Wow, dude, that's what I'm saying. There's magic that happens on these shows all the time. Call it magic, call it God, call it the universe. I don't care. I like to call it magic because it's fancy and it's flashy, and that's my favorite kind of stuff anyway. But there's something going on here. There is something extra with this kind of shit. The spiritual message says, unexpected moments of pause can lead to new spiritual insights. Gaining a new perspective on your situation helps you expand your beliefs. Take time to reflect and surrender to the present moment as fully as you can. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's some good shit. Oh,
Good shit. Yes, sir. Cody, what do you think about all this stuff? What do you think about syncretism? What do you think about, like, it's not necessarily that the people are stealing, stories and stealing messages and, it's not necessarily all about that. It's more so like it's an evolution of information. And what do you think about all of that?
This is a next level understanding, dude. And it's so simple that it just boggles my mind that I haven't came to this conclusion, or at least looked into this conclusion before. Like I think it was Gandhi that said, "Those who cannot remember the past are doomed to repeat it." Right? And I think, and I'm like, dude, we need to get on board and look back and stop living in the same cycle over and over and over and over again, man. It doesn't make any sense. So, but syncretism, like when it pertains to the mind, I think like, okay, so your brain processes millions of bits of data every second. That's crazy to me, but humans are evolutionarily hardwired pattern seekers. So we're almost looking for this out of like just off the rip.
Yeah.
We're just hardwired that way.
We're wired that way. Yeah.
Right. I find that cool. Mathematically, random data naturally forms clusters, but our brain struggles to grasp true randomness, assuming hidden meaning inside. And I'm like, dude, that's awesome. So the mind's really crazy, bro, when it comes to all this. But
in pattern recognition, all together, like there are people that see synchronicities, and maybe the number that you see all the time is 111 or 222 or what have you. And you could say that that's just your brain's way of recognizing a pattern that is essentially your subconscious mind is picking up on all of the data and all of the information around you at all times, even if you're not aware that it's doing it. It is the hardware to the software that is called your mind, that is called your conscious mind. And so that's the cool thing about it. And so, whenever you're like, man, why do I keep on seeing 222 everywhere? Like I've been seeing 222 or 229 everywhere. I don't even know what the significance of it is, right? But I'm like, man, I keep on seeing it everywhere. Dude, I go driving and I'll see it 6 or 7 times. I'll see it 6 or 7 times, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why am I seeing this? And you could say, well, it's just your pattern recognition that your subconscious mind is relaying to your conscious mind, and maybe there is a hidden message in there. And there probably is, because just because your subconscious mind is picking up on all this information and wanting to relay this information to your conscious mind because it believes that there is some importance of it because you've kind of set your mind on finding these numbers, maybe there is a deeper underlying meaning. And maybe that's where, our soul or our spirit or our spark is almost communicating with the subconscious mind to give that information to the conscious mind. And now we ascribe meaning to it. And that's the thing. That's the awesome thing about even angel numbers or synchronicities or anything like that, is that, sure, maybe if you want to look at angel numbers, a 111 maybe means something specific, or 222 maybe means something specific, like globally, or maybe there's just a naturally accepted meaning to whatever these things are. But ultimately, the true meaning to anything is whatever you believe it is. Like, according to your mind, your mind, I'm probably going to get flack for saying this. Your mind is your God, bro. Like on some real shit, like your higher mind, your higher self, whatever. Like whenever people talk to God, whenever people sit down in prayer, whenever they feel like there's a message that is being perceived from the other side or whatever, remember what I told you? It's like that subtle voice in the back. And maybe that's really what it is. Maybe we think that it's our higher self, but it's really connected to something far greater, which I believe that it is. But all that to say that, like, all of this information is just going through the strainer of our mind, and it's leaving us with an opinion or an idea or an attachment to an idea. And so 229 might not mean anything to you. But maybe somewhere subconsciously in my mind, maybe connected to the higher self of my higher mind, there is some kind of deeper meaning to it. So you can really take it on a wild goose chase. But like, I believe many people have said this, but I heard Bashar saying something along these lines, where he basically said that, like, the beautiful thing about life is that there is no meaning. Like, and you might think, like, what? There's no meaning. Like, of course there's meaning to life. Like, of course there is, right? But the truth about the nature of that statement is that there is no meaning other than the meaning that you apply to it.
Yes. Okay, dude. That's the difference between like Kierkegaardian nihilism and like Nietzschean nihilism, right? Is where like Kierkegaard's going to be a little more optimistic about it and be like, no, the meaning is the meaning you gave it. Like, what did you want it to mean? Oh, is it a good thing? Well, good. Then it meant that, and that's what it is for you. And like, whereas Nietzsche would just be like, nothing means anything, and fuck it all. Like,
Yeah.
Like, so that would be your Kierkegaardian nihilism would be like, well, no, the meaning has what I apply to it.
Yeah, and that's not to water it down or say that, well, if it only has my meaning, then that doesn't mean anything. No, that's the greatest meaning. Like, it is the greatest meaning that you could ever apply. Because it's now think about it. Well, yeah, it's personalized divination at that point.
Yeah.
If you want to think about it like that, like,
who the fuck knows you better than you?
Nobody.
You know, because it's like it's divination at the end of the day, especially if you're doing it for yourself. Because I'm pretty sure the Bible doesn't actually tell you not to go or not to divine for yourself. It's to not pay somebody to divine for you. And that's more a warning about getting fucking scammed than it is about like it being a bad or evil thing, right? Because like it's a lot of just subconscious processing. Like as you pull your tarot cards and you see the certain symbols that remind you of certain stuff, it triggers different memories that allow you to connect and process the problems that you were going through consciously. And that takes any subconscious stuff and helps bring it to the fucking like surface. And like nobody else is going to know your subconscious shit. It's yours. That's why I definitely think things like tarot and shit like that are good because of that. You're the one that applies the meaning to the card because you know what it means to you.
Well, I mean, and symbolism is built all around the world. And so, of course, you're going to have symbolism even in your own mind. That's why whenever you go to sleep and you dream at night and you dream of the craziest, most out-of-pocket shit, you're like, why was a monkey riding a unicorn on a rainbow road on a rainy day? Like, what is the meaning behind that? Well, nobody can really interpret that other than you. Like, that's like, what does a unicorn mean to you? What does a monkey mean to you? And it's just like, to put it in simple terms, like the golden arches of McDonald's, right? That's a symbol. Whenever you see these golden arches of McDonald's, you don't just see golden arches followed by a red bar below that says McDonald's proudly serving 400 million or whatever the fuck it is, right? Like, it goes beyond that. Whenever you see that sign, in your mind, there are other thoughts that are happening kind of in the background that is picturing a Big Mac, that is picturing chicken McNuggets, that is picturing those delicious fake French fries, or that is picturing a McFlurry or something like that. And so that one symbol is literally a container for all of these subconscious thoughts and these subconscious meanings. And it's beautifully composed in just an M. Like that one M just gave you all of that information. It's magic. Like, it is magic. Call it what you want, but that's what it is. It's encoded information into a symbol.
Yeah, dude. Oh, 100%. It's kind of crazy how, like, for McDonald's specifically, it kind of cuts all the way down to just red and yellow. Like, if you see red and yellow with yellow stacked on top of red, it's almost impossible not to see Ronald McDonald in your fucking mind. Fucking burger clown piece of shit. Like,
well, and red ultimately is attached to blood, right? Like blood, which a lot of people will associate with meat, you know, because you cut open a steak, you get some raw ground beef or what have you. Like, whenever you're cutting it open, you're mushing it. I mean, they say it's not blood, whatever. You get the idea. I thought that it was blood my entire life whenever you cut open a steak. Turns out it's just some kind of injected fucking juices to preserve it or whatever. But either way, point is that, like, this is all symbolism of the archetypes that we build within our own subconscious mind. And that's, in a nutshell, what syncretism is trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's 100%. Like, dude, I'm excited about the future. I think that there's more people with our mindset developing. There's every day a couple more people out there starting to wake up and pull themselves away. They're seeing the ideas of world wars and crazy fucking like, privacy things being taken, and they're recognizing that a lot of this comes from like authoritarian religions and their weird crazy beliefs. Like it's so hopefully we'll see like a rise in open-minded, free from the religious, but like still spiritually open people. Because like I think that's the issue, like with the atheist crowd, is that they get so fucking pessimistic. Like those people have no fucking hope a lot of times. And like I'll hear them make the argument, it's like, oh, but I'm a good person still, and I do good things. It's like, yeah, but you have no hope.
Yeah.
Like it's like there's no like it's just like, oh well, this is it, and I die. And it's like, I mean, like if that's all it is for you, then I guess that's all it is for you. That qualifies kind of under the NPC category that they talk about in this day and age, where I'm like, well, if that's how you feel, dude, then like maybe you are just a program running here to keep the fucking show going.
Honestly, yeah, I agree. And just like, dude, I went into Subway the other day, had to go get me a meatball sub because it's been a minute. And by the way, I forgot how terrible the meat is in those meatballs. I'm thinking about, honestly, like on some real shit, I'm thinking about going vegan really soon.
Dude.
Like it makes the most sense. Anytime I see a vegan, dude, like I don't know if you've been seeing what is called a frugivore. Have you heard of this term? A frugivore is somebody who survives only on fruit. And they are the most, dude, they are the most vibrant, intelligent, like able-bodied people I've ever seen. I'm like, dude, all these people eat is fruit. There was this one guy who he was like, bro, I thought these frugivores were full of shit. And he goes, one of my mentors was talking to me about how he was a frugivore and about how he has so much mental clarity and he always has energy and he's fit as fit can be and all that stuff. And he goes, bro, you can survive on watermelon alone. And like, you don't even need to drink water because it's already full of water. Right. And, and he goes, you can literally survive on that. And so he goes, you know what? I wanted to prove him wrong. And 6 months later, I was like, damn, I'm still alive, only eating watermelon. It's like, yeah, it's crazy. But like, I think that there are healthier ways for us to go about this. And the beautiful thing is that the healthier kind of stuff that you eat, the less processed, the less sugar, the less like, even with the animal meat, like it's the less guilt about it. Because I don't know about you. I mean, I didn't grow up a hunter. I didn't grow up a trapper or anything like that. I was always really hesitant to go and get a hunting license because I'm like, man, I don't know if I can shoot something dead. Like, I don't know if I have that in me because what gives me the right to say that you're going to die just to provide me 1/3 of my meals of nourishment? Like that doesn't seem like a fair trade-off. And you look at all these like, factory farming and how terrible all these animals are treated. It is horrific, bro. You want to talk about sacrifice to the greatest degree. It is wild. I'm not going to be one of those people that tries to, talk everybody into it, but that is probably a direction I'm going to be going in.
To be honest, bro, I got bit by one of those fucking ticks, one of those Lone Star ticks, and I've got that alpha gal syndrome now, so I can't even eat red meat anymore. Like I literally almost died of a fucking anaphylactic shock over some butter.
Wow.
Like I can't eat meat or meat byproducts. So like I'm pretty much Bill Gates pretty much forced my hand. I'm a pescatarian at this particular moment. Like if I could grow enough of my own fruit, I would totally be a frugivore. Like that sounds pretty tight. Like, it's just, they charge the fuck out of you for fruit right now.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like all of your produce and everything, it's wild how they've done us.
Dude, they're charging $10 for a watermelon. I'm like, what? Come on.
Yeah,
dude.
bro. When like all I can find outside of this one farmer's market that I go to, all you can find is seedless watermelons.
Which is unnatural.
Yeah, dude. So it's, I don't know. It's a little unnerving to see the direction America's food's going. It goes back to those Greek guys, right? You go Hippocrates, right? So we've got such a huge industry built out of the pharmaceuticals and shit like that you can't have people understanding the reality of it, to let thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food. You can't have people realizing that if they grew their own stuff and like focused more on like terrain theory, where you're consuming things in season and based on location and like, that those kinds of things help a lot. But no, we don't want that. We want shots and we want pills and we want people sick all the fucking time. So make them process their fucking food through factories and chemicals, and don't tell them that it's easy to grow it. In fact, make it to where nothing produces seeds anymore, so they can't even grow it.
Yeah. I saw this Woody Harrelson, which is one of my favorite people of all time. But Woody Harrelson, he goes, there's been a long-standing rule in my house to where if anybody ever gets sick, like the rule is that you have to go on a raw diet, meaning you can only eat like raw vegetables and raw fruits. Like it has to be raw. And he said that is the only way that we can get all of the nutrients of the fruit or of the vegetable, because you're not cooking away everything else that is like good for you. And I'm like, man, I think I need to convince my conscious mind of it. My subconscious mind is convinced of it, but like my conscious mind is like, man, dude, like I don't want to kill an animal, but also, damn, is steak good? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like,
it's because Cypher is real in all of us. That character from the Matrix, that fucking Cypher, we all just want that steak. Like, God, do we all wish we could forget and just eat that fucking steak, bro? Like, I know it. Like,
I know, but that's part of the processing, or part of the whole gambit in and of itself. And to be honest, we're probably not even addicted to the meat. We're probably addicted to the adrenochrome in the meat, which is probably even worse. But anyway, look, I don't want to divulge too far. My God, Devon, I love this conversation, bro. And we've been going over 2 hours here. So thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Is there, if anybody wanted to reach out to you and find you or hear you anywhere, any place out there, where can they find all of your information, sir?
So I am on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all of those as the Dread Pirate Borshnikov Krupkowski. I know that's a mouthful, but if you put in the Dread Pirate Borshnikov, it should bring you up. Like, but you can also find me on the foundationofasha.com. That's my brother and I's website. That's got all of our academic work for the religious, and I've got my biographies on there. It's called The Cave and the Climb. And it's my autobiography, I guess. And then I've got a couple other books on there. And then you can also go check out a few of the games that I've developed on ashaarena.com. I've actually got a game out right now. It's called Holy Wars. It's a turn-based game where you can pick whichever religious faction you want out of a group of 8. Like there's like from the ancient Greeks to the cult of Ra. You can pick them and you go out there and you have a little back and forth battle with each other. It's a pretty fun game. But that's those are the places you can find me. So
that is awesome. Yeah, well, look, thank you so much for coming to hang out, dude. There was a lot of fun going back and forth. I just I love these kind of conversations because I want to be able to see where everybody else is at in their journey, the accumulation of knowledge that they've been able to gather, and then just throw things back and forth and see how, what sticks at a wall kind of deal. And I love that this show has been able to, kind of bring people together and bring people from, we've had witches, we've had psychics, we've had magicians, we've had philosophers, we've had, you name it. We've had it, and it's been such a fun ride, and happy to have you as part of the collection, sir. You are awesome, and keep up the good work, and you let us know whenever you're ready to throw down again, and we'll do it.
Yeah, man, it's an absolute pleasure, and I'm flattered that you had me on. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, man. Oh, by the way, Cody, your final thoughts, sir. What do you think about all of this? Awesome. Does it make sense?
It makes the most sense, I think, of any episode I've been on so far. Not that the others weren't cool too, but it's simple, and I feel like we can all use it to advance in our journey. So super cool. This was a new level of awesome to me, but until next time, stay tuned and stay in sync.
Yes, all day, baby. Look, by the way, we are bringing back the meditation for the after show. So Obviously, we've decided we're not going to be able to put the meditation in with the episode because of copyright and all that other kind of stuff. However, if you want to be able to join us every Wednesday night for the live show, you'll also be able to join us for the meditation, the talk afterward, where we're going to collectively choose like what meditation it's going to be. Sometimes it's a guided meditation. Sometimes it's a regular meditation. Sometimes you might get Lord Byron to come out here and cite his own damn meditation. It gets crazy. It gets wild. But if you want to be a part of that, come over to patreon.com/metamystics. It's the best way to be able to support the show. You'll be able to get the shows days, if not weeks in advance. It's completely commercial free. And as I said before, you'll also be able to join the live show if you join the Wonder Wednesday tier over there. If not, then leave a review or some kind of comment. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, if you leave 5 stars, it really helps promote the show and the message to the algorithmic gods out there who I swear I worship and I pray all day long, and they sometimes answer back. But you know how we can get all of their attention is by everybody leaving a review, everybody leaving 5 stars and doing whatever you can. It really helps promote the show. Other than that, come and check us out on all of the social medias. The best place to be able to find all of these things, though, if you want just a one-stop shop to be able to find and follow and comment and do all of these amazing things, really be part of the agenda of the awakening over here, go to onlymystics.com. It's a free website. It gives you direct access to everything that Metamystics does. You want to be able to reach out for an email. Maybe you have a show idea. Maybe you want to reach out for a past life regression. You'll be able to find it all on that website. That's onlymystics.com. That being said, if Devon came here and he taught you anything, it's that you don't know what you don't know. So don't just get weird.
Stay weird.
All right, for the one there at home, if you want to be able to listen to this meditation and have it be essentially like a continuation, the meditation we're going to do, we can't share it on the podcast anymore because you get copyright restrictions and whatnot. But we can tell you which one, and then we're gonna cut to like how we're reacting and maybe some of the downloads and what happened within that meditation afterward. So the one that we're going to be meditating on it's by my favorite meditation YouTube channel called Great Meditation, and it's called The Less You Try, The Better It Gets. All right, Code, what you think about it?
That was cool, dude. You find your way inside. That makes sense.
Dude, that's exactly what you're doing. Yeah.
And it's like I closed my eyes, but everything went black. Not because my eyes were closed, but just because there was nothing. You know, at the beginning when I was getting into it and relaxing, my breath got a little heavier. My body got heavier for sure. It was cool, dude. There was a point inside of it, dude, where I was swimming fast. Yeah, it was super cool. I was swimming really fast, like super speed, you know, under the water, dude, at like this big pond or something. I don't know. There was a cliff all around it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there was a waterfall, but inside the water in that pond, I was swimming so fast, which was crazy because you would think you would hit a wall, but I didn't, you know, and I'm just super cool, man. And then these big old fish, they were about this long or so. I don't know what they were, but they was the only fish under there. It was like me and them, and that was it.
You know what's so crazy is that like I'm the same way. Like whenever I go into a meditation, it gets very it's like a whole nother world in there. You know, there is an entire other reality that is inside of you. And whenever she said right there at the end, she said, relax in the comfort of yourself. And it's like, oh my God, that is exactly what's going on. And actually, you know, why we're able to do all of these, like, you know, seemingly mystical things whenever you're in a deep meditation. And it's not just seeing it, like you're experiencing it. Like and the deeper you go into a meditation and the more descriptive, it's like the more descriptive things start to come, maybe after a while, or maybe you experienced it this time, I don't know, but you said that you were swimming super fast. You probably felt like the current of the water that you were leaving behind as you were swimming super fast, like did it feel anything like that?
That was exactly what it felt like. It wasn't so much me moving as the current. I just knew I was moving fast.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yes. So, all right, now we're going to get really weird here. Okay. And this is why we meditate. This is why, because this is the world of you. This is the world of Cody. Nobody else has access to that world. It is you and yours alone. It is your temple. Call it your kingdom. There is something that is magical that only you have the ability to access. But whenever you go there, this is literally what all of the like within magic, like I'm talking about esoteric magic. They always talk about like how you need to go into a meditation, and within that meditation, you need to go inside of a temple that you've built within your mind. And inside that temple can be a many of different things. And this is where you can start getting really descriptive with it. Like it's not necessarily just free flow, whatever comes. It's that whenever you get into that meditative state, you can start building worlds. You can start building structures. And actually there's this book that me and Sean read called The Magician. And it says that whenever you enter into the temple of your mind, which is literally that deep inner part that you just experienced, those waves, that was all in your mind, right? Mm-hmm. Those deep inner parts, it talks about like how you can build this temple, and then inside this temple is a hallway. And at the end of that hallway, there's like a door. And when you open that door, you see like this giant pond, and you bring a cup in there, and you have an idea about what this magical water is going to be made out of, right? So let's say it's not going to be made out of Kool-Aid or apple juice or fucking beer or anything like that, right? It's going to be made out of whatever you're trying to manifest. So think about like, all right, I really want to try and manifest a girlfriend into my life. Let's just throw something out there, right? I want to try and manifest the love of my life. And so if that's what you're trying to do within this magical working, by going into this temple, going down the hallway, reaching that door and opening that door, entering into the outer area of the pond, you take your cup and you scoop a little cup out of that water, right? Out of that pond. And whenever you drink it, you are drinking the manifestation. Like that's what you're doing. You're drinking the magical serum that you need in order to manifest something in this life. So in that case, what you would be drinking would be the essence of divining a lover into your life. And really what's going on is like, set all magic and all that other stuff apart. And even within the book, he tells you like, don't get too fooled with it. Like because some people like to get crazy with it and say, you're going to another world, and on that other world, that's where the manifestation, it's not like that. He goes, what you're doing is that within the depths of your mind, because that's where you're going whenever you're in manifestation or whenever you're in meditation, right? You're going into the depths of your mind with an intention and planting a seed, and you're now accepting the ritual that you just did. You've accepted that is going to allow manifestation in your life. You went to the deep recesses of your deeper, most personal self, and you've not only accepted that it's going to happen, you've done the work, and now your conscious mind accepts it. You know what I'm saying?
Shit.
Like that's the deeper parts of that. So whenever you go into a meditation, you don't always have to have an intention. Like I had an intention last night because I felt like I really need to get some answers. Like, am I on the right track kind of deal? And that's wild shit will happen, dude. I'm telling you, like there's my favorite quote is from this Sufi mystic. Sufi is like the Islamic mystical kind of people, right? They're like the magicians of Islam, essentially. And his name was Rumi. And Rumi, he has a famous quote, and he said, this is what he said, because he was always meditating, like always trying to find out the true nature of reality. He has a famous quote, and he says, I tried to find God, talking about in meditation. He goes, I tried to find God, but all I could find was myself. He goes, I tried to find myself, and all I found was God. Boom, 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 right? Like,
Clip
it. Clip. And so it's like these subtle realizations that you can come up within yourself, and you'll experience the craziest things, dude. Like, I wasn't expecting that guy to put a fucking wreath over my neck. I didn't even know what that meant until I looked it up. But it's your subconscious mind or your higher self or whatever. You're going into the deepest, most inner parts of yourself that may or may not be the thing that has lived for all eternity. You're accessing that hard drive of eternal information. The part of you that doesn't only say, well, I'm just Cody and I've only lived here for, 30 some odd years. Like, no, you lost that aspect of yourself. Like, you're now identifying with a deeper aspect of yourself. You just swam through your own waters and experienced what that was like.
Right? Dude, it was sick too. Like, I know I had the most fun right there too. Like, it was peaceful. I felt better than I ever had.
Yes.
Whether work, family, anything, like, just felt great. Like, okay, I got myself now.
You felt free.
Next?
You felt free.
Yep.
And what's really cool about that too is that what they say is that whenever you go into the depths of your meditation, it's the same place you go in your mind when you're dreaming. It's the same place you go in your mind whenever you take mushrooms. It's the same place you go whenever you're hypnotized. It's the same thing. Like, you're accessing the same part of your mind that all of these other things also do. It's just that whenever you take mushrooms or DMT, it fucking gets you there right now. You don't need to meditate for a half an hour in order to experience some crazy shit, right? Like, 5 minutes from now, I'm going to be tripping balls. And, technically, whenever you're, like, if you were to do DMT, I don't think you're ready for that yet, but one day we'll see. But anyway, with DMT, literally, you're dreaming while you're awake. Like, that's really what's going on. You are in the fucking astral realm. The astral realm is, they say that that's actually where we typically are. Like, so, I mean, I kind of believe this to be true, but I think that whenever we die, we go back to the astral realm. Like, I think the astral realm is the realm of thoughts. It's the realm of spirits. It's the realm of awareness. It's not material. Like, it's nothing physical about it. And what's amazing about over there is that as soon as you think it, you do it. As soon as you think it, you manifest it. It's the world of the imagination, essentially. And so if you wanted to go super deep into a meditation and you wanted to experience, I don't know, dude, like fucking skiing down Mount Everest, like, you could create that in your mind and actually experience what it's like to be on skis, hauling ass, going down Mount Everest. Wow. And you would get all of the same sensations, the wind in the face, the snow coming down, the
little chill,
the freezing of the fucking boogers in your nose, literally all of the things. It's the same thing, except you're doing it in the comfort of your own mind and in a spiritual way. So it's like, it's amazing to go in there. But this is what literally all of esotericism, remember I told you that exoteric is like the surface level meaning, taking things literally, that Noah literally built a boat and housed all these things. It's the esoteric, which is the deeper meaning. So whenever you go into meditation, you almost feel like that is the true reality. Like, that is how all of this physical reality is able to exist, because it was first thought of.
Yeah.
And so it's just all around magical. But man, I love getting back to these meditations. Hopefully you guys Well, love it too. Me and Sean, dude, for the first, the whole time that Sean was my co-host, we were doing them every episode. And so I got in the habit of meditating 3-4 times a week, and oh my God, dude, like it's just the most comforting thing and most like imaginative, cool thing that you can do really. But, and then I got away from it whenever he decided to step away. I'm like, but now I'm happy to like talk about these journeys back and forth together. It's cool.
Right. Sick, dude.
Actually, whenever I was in there, that was my thoughts. Like my thoughts were that, whenever you die, you just go to the astral realm, and that's where it's easy to manifest, and you don't have to worry about getting sick, and you don't have to worry about getting hurt, and you don't have to worry about dying. You're just eternal. And the reason why we decide to incarnate in this physical reality is because maybe we just get tired of playing on easy. Maybe that's what it is, because there's
you
nothing.
Just want something different.
Yeah, like you just want it to be a little bit harder. It's like any game that you've ever played, like it gets boring playing on easy for a little while.
Guitar Hero,
like what you get one keynote to every 5 seconds. You're like, oh my God, what am I waiting on? You want to pump that up all the way to whatever the highest level is, right? Like expert or whatever, right? And so then you're like, oh my God, this shit is so hard, but I actually kind of fuck with it because it's giving me a challenge and it's giving me something to try and overcome. And that's the beauty of it. And I think in a nutshell, I think that's what this reality is all about. It's just overcoming the obstacles because we wanted it harder. Like, I think that's probably what it is.
I think that could be the truth, dude. Because if you're up there and you're thinking, oh, I can make this happen. And just the thought, it's so easy. I mean, it's taking no effort, Well,
and I think that's why we have the ability to do all these mystical things, because it's in our true nature. Think about that.
Clip that too. Yes.
That might be it.
This is awesome.
Yeah, dude. And look, the more you meditate, the more magical they get. And that's why meditation is awesome. You are experiencing the best part of yourself in meditation.
Yeah. Other than just breathing and walking and meditating, like a walking meditating kind of deal. I haven't meditated in years, probably since the last time we were both here at the same time playing 2K or whatever on the Xbox over at the other house.
We meditated laying down on the floor right there.
Yes.
I remember that.
And in the back of the truck on the way home, looking up at the sky
in the desert.
And I think that was the coolest one right there, because you close your eyes, you see all these stars. And if you're familiar with Lake Havasu or Arizona, man, it is pitch dark. They don't even do street lights here. So you get to see the stars, and that's why they do it. So people can look up at the stars. They take that pretty serious out here. But anyway, we're in the back of the truck, and we close our eyes to meditate, and we, I don't know how long we did this for. It seemed like forever.
Well, we were coming all the way from Vegas, because remember we had to we went to the Vegas airport. And so we're going through the Vegas desert and the Nevada desert all the way back to Havasu, which is like a 4-hour drive. So we're sitting in the back of a truck, like no cap on, and it's just us. I think we had some blankets or something back there because, dude, the desert gets cold as fuck at night. Remember, it was like constantly going through these pockets of really hot, then super cold, then really hot, then super. It's so strange. Yeah. But like once you lay back down there and you close your eyes, you're like, you imagine that you're swimming in the pool of the universe out there. Like that's really what it's like. And like you already got the wind from the truck and going on the interstate and all that kind of stuff. It's like, dude, it's a mystical experience. But yeah, I forgot about that.
You open your eyes at the end, and it's like, I'm down here, but I'm back on Earth. I thought that was super cool. I have to try that.
Well, look, and that's why. Have you ever heard "as above, so below"?
I've heard of that. I don't know. I don't remember what it means.
So it's a Hermetic axiom, but it's one of the laws in Hermeticism. And we'll go over Hermeticism so you can get familiar with what all that means. But it's an ancient philosophy essentially, and they say that there are 7 true laws to the nature of reality. And remember that first one that I told you, that the first law is that all is mind, that there's nothing outside of the mind. Like everything that you ever experience, it is always experienced through your mind. Everything is of the mind. The nature of all of this reality is just an aspect of the mind. And it goes super deep. But as above, so below is like, all right. So imagine that you're like, you're a projection. Like, or you project. Imagine like you're a movie theater projector, right? And so whatever, imagine you put like a movie screen reel, like a movie reel on the projector. And whatever's on that reel is going to shine through the light bulbs of the projector and then project out onto the screen, right? Yeah. But on that projector, it depends on what's on that reel. And you can call that reel your mind. And so whatever is going on in your mind is going to project out into reality. Okay, that's as above, so below. So what that means is that if you're constantly filling your mind with garbage and porn or drugs or alcohol or horror movies or whatever is not good for your mind, like if you're focusing on fear and lack and low confidence and low self-esteem and all of that, the movie reel, you're just the projector, you're just the light, right? Like that's what you are. You are that light. That movie reel is only going to show what's on that reel, and it's going to project it out into this reality. So if you're feeling fear or anxiety or low self-worth or whatever on the inside, that is essentially what's going to be projected outside of you. And so the nature of your reality will show you back whatever it is you're projecting. Reality is a mirror. You are the projector. So whatever you project, you're going to see on the outer world. And then ultimately it's a Ouroboros. It's a snake eating its tail, because whatever you project onto the mirror is ultimately going to project back onto you. And it's a never ending cycle of the snake eating its tail, right? There is no beginning. There is no end. There's only cycles. And so that idea is like, all right, well, here's a perfect example, prime example. Here you go, right here. It's this. So you've seen the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil sign. Sometimes it's with monkeys. Sometimes it's with these little Buddhas, right? The idea is that don't see anything. Well, hold on. I'm doing that backwards. Don't see anything, don't hear anything, and don't speak anything that you don't want to be manifested into your life. So you don't want to hear things, this one. You don't want to hear things that you don't want to be automatically projected back into your life. Like if you're, I don't know, like maybe you're around a Debbie Downer who's just always talking shit about themselves or talking shit about everybody else or what have you, right? Like you're allowing that back into your life and you're then projecting it back out into the real world. And that's what the Buddhists ultimately believe. They believe that that reality, the Buddhists and the Hindus, they call reality the Maya, and Maya stands for illusion. That the outer world is the illusion. That the true world is actually inside of you. Like that place that you go in your meditation, that place that you go in your mind, your true reality is up here and in here. Like that's it. This other reality, call it the Maya. Other cultures have called it other things, basically saying the same exact thing, that like reality is an illusion. The true reality is like what's inside of you. So it's all mystical, it's all magical, and this is where people are able to manifest because they're able to discern and they're able to not take the outer world so seriously because the true world is actually within you. So that's the thing. And you'll hear people, eventually we're going to get this dude on the show. His name is Lord Byron. Crazy, goofy ass motherfucker, but he's awesome. And he says that, people don't even understand that they're just walking around cursing themselves all day. Like the moment you say you can't do something, you just projected that into reality, right? And reality is just the mirror. So it's going to show you exactly whatever you're projecting and shoot it back onto you. So if you say, I'll never be good at this. I suck at that. I can't do this. Reality is going to say, all right, I'm going to show you how you're right. That's it. Like, and you're cursing yourself literally every time you say you can't or you're not or I'm not good enough or anything like that. And so I'm kind of giving a crash course here, but essentially it's all awesome. It's all magical. This whole place is an awesome experience, and we're learning how to not get caught up in the mundane activities. So that's the cool part. That being said, hopefully you guys are meditating frequently. We're getting back on the rails here with meditation, and we love you, and we'll see you on the flip side.